Let's go. Good morning, Keller Williams, South Florida region. My name is Brett Bishop, and I am filling in for our amazing regional tech trainer, Ryan Yarbrough, who had an important thing come up at the last possible second, as normally is the case when you've got a major thing planned, right? So, anyway, I am your host for the next 4 hours or so, and we have an awesome lineup today. Take command of listings, specifically marketing tactics around that, how to leverage listings to get more listings, things like that. So, kicking us off is going to be Chris Cusimano, and then from 10 to 10:50, we will have Maria Responte. And for 11 to 11:50, we will have Sandra Rathy. She's going to talk to us about luxury, which is going to be awesome. And then for that last hour, 12 to 12:50, you are going to have your MCTTs from around the region to ask questions. So without further ado, I am going to jump right in here and bring my buddy Chris Cusimano up. Kuzi, what's happening, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Brett.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll just turn the show over to you, man.
Sure, I'll give a a mini introduction in a slide or two from now. But basically, I'm Chris Cusimano. I run the Homes by Kuzi team in Southeast Florida. I've been doing real estate for a very long time, and I just want to thank you guys for your time, for spending your time that you don't get back this morning with me. I'm sure I'm going to make it valuable for you. That's the goal. And thanks, Brett, for having me, my friend.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, so I will pop your slides out here, buddy, and I will take off and let you drop some knowledge on everybody.
Drop some nugs. All right, we good to go, Brett? Oh, he left. By the way, that intro music, if you saw it, is really intense. It was like, uh-oh, I got to follow that. But anyway, so today I was asked to come on and present, and very humbly so, about how to market listings in general. And I was asked specifically to how do I market my listings in order to get more listings. And since I learned that I was the first on the day as today, I felt like I should set the stage with some very important things behind this before the other people come on and present and give you some solid nuggets. I'll give you solid nuggets as well. So let's get into it. So I'll give a little quick introduction to me, but why you should listen to me, or why I'm here, is basically I've been doing real estate for a very long time, over 23 years now. And I started when I was 19. So that does make me 42. I got serious in 2011, actually about 6 years after I got my real estate license. So if you might have been struggling for a little bit, then so was I at one point, until I started to get really serious about it when my wife got pregnant with our first kid. And I've done some really cool things. Like I was a family reunion presenter, and maybe you saw me on stage a few times at South Florida regional events. Also, just I set a yearly goal from my income, not team income, my income, to be about $500,000 per year. And just to show that I do that, and you could scale this up to $1 million if you want. This is what my comfort level is. And so you can see from 2020 to 2022, and then last year's number, once again, on the bottom is 500. And if we want to put this in perspective, maybe you're a new agent, or maybe you're a struggling agent. I want to share that, not like, oh, look at me, I'm great, because I know there's plenty of people who do a lot more. The point is to show you that there's opportunities if you do things, the right way and your way. And to put this in perspective, if you're wondering if you had a good business or you got into a good business, then if we just compare it to some of the top mean annual salaries in the country, it's more than that. And it just takes doing the right steps over the right period of time to do it. And what's the right period of time for me? But for me to figure out, it wasn't that long once I started putting things in order, maybe about a year or two. And let's compare this to, let's say, like a cardiologist right on the top. They make $354,000. But listen, they have 8 years of college, then they have residency, and then they have to pay off all their student debt, right? So we went to school essentially for a week, and now we just got to put our business and marketing chops into play. And hopefully today's little presentation will cover exactly that. All right. So I showed you my income and what I do. And I also, just so you know, if you ever say, I'm just too busy to do it, you're not. That is my family. I have 5 kids, a gorgeous wife. I also have 3 dogs and 2 cats, like true story. So I just put systems in place and procedures in place to make sure that I'm also a present father and a present husband. to my family while at the same time running a team, a coaching program, and also doing things like this, and also working with my clients. And it's just following very specific systems. And no worries, none of the things that I teach you have anything to do with cold calling, door knocking, begging, or chasing crap leads. That's just not how I worked. As a matter of fact, the reason why I struggled for my first couple years in real estate before I got serious is because I just rather sling Strong Island iced teas to drunk people and make pina coladas than I wanted to do these things. So then I learned better ways. All right. So that gets us back to today. Let's just dive in. I want to give you a little background, a little motivation, if you will. Let's talk about how to leverage to get our listings, to get us more listings. Now, when I was asked to present this, I kind of knew what they were expecting for me, the people at KW. They probably expect, or maybe what a lot of people expect, like, how do we get our current house of our listing and market a new house to get more clients? However, what that would entail for the most part would be things that I just don't do in my business. I don't do just listed postcards. I don't do pay-per-click ads. I don't do open houses. Well, I shouldn't say I don't do open houses, but I don't do open houses for that specific purpose. It's part of my marketing package, which is a different training for a different day. It just always isn't what I do. Instead, to me, what makes sense, and instead of leveraging a house to get more clients to do things that I don't want to do or spend money on because it's expensive, not saying it doesn't work, just for my business model, it's not what I do. I think it makes more sense to start spoiling my client so my client tells more people, and those people become my clients, and they tell more people, and those clients become my client, and those tell more people. Because if you want to go back, let's go back a slide. This is very hard to scale. One listing, a bunch of marketing blast to a specific area, unless I'm missing something that maybe our other presenters later that are going to teach that I can learn from. But from what I gathered is that's a very expensive and unscalable way to grow your business. I rather have a human being be my cheerleader and then make cheerleaders out of those cheerleaders. And that's essentially how I grew my business to scale with a good ROI and a low P&L. That's just what I wanted to do. But in order for us to understand how to do this thing, we need to do the very first thing, or understand the very basic thing of what it is to be a realtor. As a realtor, we are a business person. And let's talk about exactly what a business is. Usually when I teach this stuff live is when we have a nice little dialogue. Because of this setting, we'll just go right through it. We just dive in. And a business, in the very basic terms, is solving a problem in exchange for an equivalent amount of money. Or you can barter. You can trade like a pencil for a pen, but you get the point. So in our business, what we are trying to do is solve a problem for our client. The example you have on your screen here shows like a piece of cheese. Let's say, for example, I was having a party and I was making lasagna. I'm half Italian. I know I look pale, but I'm half Italian. That's my German Irish side. Don't judge. But I am half Italian, and I have a lot of Italian family members, and they love lasagna and ziti and all that stuff, right? And I needed cheese. But what if I didn't know how to make cheese? I don't know how to make cheese. I don't. I would have to go to someone who does. And let's say Susie lives down the street from me. Let's just imagine Publix and Target and all that doesn't exist. Susie lives down the street and she knows how to make mozzarella and provolone and all the Italian cheeses that I need, right? Well, she's solving my problem. So in exchange for my problem, I'm going to give her money, which I feel is a fair amount in exchange for that problem. And that's exactly what we do for our clients. They come to us to solve as many problems, and the more problems and the better experience that we can provide for them, the more valuable we are to them. And once we get that, we can now just go focus on creating experiences for our current clients that makes their lives easier, that solves more of their problems, which makes us more valuable to them, which makes them want to tell other people. As opposed to what I've heard from real estate trainings in the past, that where you just go out and you treat it like a transaction, where you just have a transaction and you make transactional actions by marketing in response to that house, as opposed to spoiling your client and getting the biggest and best thing that scales in marketing, which is word of mouth from your goodwill. But let's go a little bit further on this. This is usually when I ask questions too, but again, because of the setting, it's just me talking to my camera or you. So there's two ways to grow our business. There's only two ways. The first way is we need to make, or I should say, how do we increase our ROI and reduce our P and Ls, or our L's and the P's and L's, I should say. You always want to increase your P's, obviously, your profit. But anyways, you want to make more per client. That's one. And the second way you want to do it, you want to get that client, like I said before, to tell everyone else about you and have that scale. So focus on repeat business from your current clients. Huge mistakes people do when they get a real estate listing. They forgot how hard it was to get that client. That's the hardest part of it. You already have someone who has faith in you and trusts in you. All you have to do is now validate their decision to hire you, spoil the crap out of them, and have them tell everyone about you. But I'm getting ahead of myself because I said there's two ways to grow your business. One, make more money per client. Second is focus on repeat business by spoiling your people. I say screw it. Let's do both. Let's make more money per client and let's focus on repeat business. Let's do both. In order for us to do this, we have to go back to what I just said a second ago. And what I just said a second ago is that we worked extremely hard for the client that we had. We took them through a very linear graph in their brain. Human beings are very linear in the way we think. And when it takes someone to hire us, this is what they have to do. They have to first know us, like us, trust us, and then remember us. I know you've heard this before, but don't take this lightly. This is an extremely important thing to remember. This is how the brain works. It's kind of like this. Susie, if I want to sell my house and there's Susie, I'll be like, maybe I don't know her, right? She sends me a postcard and maybe I see a couple of things on social media, so I kind of know her. And then I get to know her. So I go, okay, so Susie, I believe, is a realtor, but she's not top of mind. I have other people. And then what happens is, as I get to know Susie, she starts communicating with me and she starts being, just someone just happens to be around a lot. I start to like Susie, right? Then my brain goes, okay, Susie is a realtor. I'll consider Susie. But I'm not too sure yet. And then after a time, I see more of, say, it's our social media content or our marketing, and she comes off as a real strong expert and she treats people well and she has good reviews. And then I start to trust Susie. Then my brain goes from, yeah, I'll give her a shot to, yeah, I think I'm gonna not only just give her a shot and consider and research her more, I'm gonna actually call her for an appointment, right? So that's how the human brain goes. And then you want to go from that point, I'm just gonna give her an appointment to eventually to come list me. When I'm ready to sell my house, Susie is going to be my realtor. And that's that we're trying to transition people's brains to that. And that is best done through your clients doing all the work for you and telling them about you. But what people are used to is what on the bottom of your graph right here on this slide right here. They're used to pretty mediocre service. That's why it's like a slanted thumb. It's like, it's good enough, where you have to work hard to get a client. But you didn't take care of your client because you might not have known how to, your current client. So then now you got to go out and do it again and do it again. And every time you send a round of postcards out to a neighborhood and these people don't know you, they have to start this process. They have to finally get to know you. And that takes a minute. That takes a while. Sending out a bunch of postcards just listed is very, very slim odds this can produce anything successful, unless it's in a farm you've been working for forever and you have very big budgets. And let's be honest, most of us real estate agents, we don't have huge budgets, or at least we don't spend as much as we should. Let's just be real. Word of mouth is free. However, if we give them a solid product, a diamond product, if you will, at the top, you could do what we mentioned a few times before. I'm going to beat this point into you as best as I can. We're going to get a client. The client's going to tell more and more and more and more. And that scales. If you compare it, that pink line right in the middle represents time. If you only have to really do the hard work, the really hard work to convince one person, and that one person will tell all these other people about you. And as long as you deliver your goods on the people they tell about you, you give them a good experience and give them a good product and service that they can't get anywhere else. You become essentially competition of none and product of one. Then your business scales in the same amount of time frame with a lot less effort and a lot lower expenses, because speaking, or people speaking for you, is free. Happens when you're sleeping. It happens when you're at a party. It happens when you're having dinner with your family, or when you're walking your dog. It's always happening behind the scenes. So I want to kind of give a little exercise here, and just take a minute to really think about what I'm about to present. And I'll take a breath, have a sip of water. Let's imagine we moved to a new area and we only had one client. We worked very hard to get one client. then let's imagine, oh, hold on, I got to pop up over here. Now let's imagine that we aren't allowed to get business ever again. It's just about ever, not ever again, unless it came from the referral of this one client. What would you do if all of your business from now on was directly from the first seed of it was from, I should say, that one client? What would you do for them? What do our colleagues do when they list their house? For the most part, pretty basic stuff. Sometimes they do vertical iPhone photos and they don't even clean the lens. It's all foggy. They don't even turn the lights on, right? A lot of times they just put it on the MLS and there's missing information. How many listings we see with incorrect, false information? Total square footage is not on there. They don't have the roof age on there. They don't have the perks like the lot location or the size of it listed anywhere, even though it's a big feature. You know, that's what a lot of real estate agents do. But what if that one client was the direct seed, the first seed of the tree to grow your future business? You would make sure, I would assume, if you're a smart business person, you would do everything in your power to spoil the crap out of them so they tell everyone about you. And that's where the essence of where I'm going today is, where they said, hey, how do you get your listing? How do you leverage your listings to get more listings? I don't leverage my listings to get more listings. I leverage my clients to get more clients, right? And that's a big difference in how I have grown my business. And when you do this, the things that you have to do to get your properties noticed won't only get you noticed by other people, because they'll Google, they'll look at realtor.com, they'll compare and all that stuff. And but it also gets you noticed by other realtors. They will go, oh, skip the slide, sorry. They'll go, how in the world is he or she getting all this business? How in the world are they able to market like this to catch my attention? Some people will get jelly of you, which is human nature, but the good agents, the smart agents, will want to learn and want to connect with you and grow with you, and you'll become very a desired, I can say an admired person, maybe desired. I don't know. Maybe they do desire you, but you become an admired person to a lot of people by doing those things, because as you're spoiling and taking care of your clients, that same energy reaches across the spectrum over to our colleagues. They take notice of what you're doing. And as long as your experiences are the same with your colleagues as they are with your clients, you become admired and more sought after as a source of information, someone to do business with, someone to bounce ideas with. And when you're around solid people and solid real estate agents, it's just how your brain grows into becoming a better real estate professional. So it's just not just serving your clients. It does this as well. All right. So how do you do that? All right. So how do you get your client on the right to fall in love with you? Well, you give them the perfect scenario. You give them what I call the dream scenario. And there's a checklist on the left. I'll go a little slower here because, usually, okay, I'll just kind of do a little side session here. I do a 2-day boot camp in market centers, full 2-day boot camp where we go through all these processes together, step by step, so I can help other real estate agents essentially do what I've done for my business. So if you guys want that in your market center, let your team leaders know, and I'd love to do that. Reach out to me. Super fun stuff. But anyways, because we don't have a lot of time here, we can't go diving too deep in these things, but let's just try our best. So in order for someone to have a dream scenario with their realtor, and by the way, our colleagues aren't doing these things. That's how it's easy to be successful. You just got to do these things. That's it. You never have to go to any other training again. But anyways, so you want to solve all problems. You got to solve the problem. If you go back to our cheese slide, I'm afraid to do it because I don't know how easy it is for me to get back here. But you go back to our cheese slide. I had one problem. I needed cheese, right? But what if I also needed pasta? And what if this person also, I didn't have any hot water and they gave me a pot of hot water to boil in? What if I didn't have tomato sauce? What if that person pretty much gave me my pasta in the box? They solved all of my problems, not just my cheese problem. Then what happens? That's the dream seller. They didn't just give me what I thought I needed. They gave me everything I needed. They solved all of my problems. When you do that, instead of just being a cheese seller, you become a meal in a box. Here you go, done for you. You're something new and you're something different. That will reduce the stress of myself and my clients. And it helps me on my timeline, meaning I can get more done faster, which ultimately leads to a more positive experience, not for me, but also my guest. to people. I'm telling everyone, you know, then when I have a better experience, I'm going to tell everyone about this new pasta in a box person who didn't just sell me cheese. She gave me a complete solution. Right. And then on top of that, if you offer a lot of wins throughout the process, I don't have anyone to talk to here. So I don't know if there's any questions after this. Maybe we can load up a Q&A. I could talk about ideas for quick and mini wins. And then we always backed by guarantees. For example, if that person who offered me that pasta in the box guarantees meal ready, 5 minutes or less, or I get my money back, I will even find that more valuable. We just need to do that same scenario for our clients. And again, in my boot camps, we walk you through it. And there's other things I can provide for you to walk you through it too, if you want to do it on your own. We'll get to that later. Now, in order for us to check off all of those boxes, we then need to do the steps on the right. To solve the problems, we need to figure out what are all the problems or the steps involved in selling a house. And notice I say selling a house. We really want to focus on selling our house in real estate. And then we're going to solve all of these issues or steps very creatively. And then whatever makes sense for our budget or P&L and our ROI, we're going to focus on those solutions for our sellers that make sense. Because again, we're in a business here. We're here to make money. And then anything that we find that may not be something we want to regularly offer to our clients, we can always create bonuses. There's a whole strategy about bonuses that I teach in other courses. And again, as I mentioned before, then you have your guarantees and you want to start creating those guarantees. And I can give you some hacks if you guys have them. If you have a Q&A after this or however this works, we can definitely dive into those things. And then once you do these things, hey, Brett, once you do these, hey,
I gotta jump in here real quick. So yes, we will take questions. You seem like you're getting a little lonely. I know you're a friendly guy and you're used to having people to talk to. So
there's no one here but me.
I'll hang out here with you. But you're doing awesome. I do want to say one thing. There's a bunch of people that are popping into the backstage area that is only for guests. I've got I'm not going to name names, but there's people that are jumping in the backstage, and that is the wrong place to be. You need to go to the YouTube channel to watch this. So just want to put that out there, but I'll hang out here if you want me to, buddy. If you
I don't care. So how do we make it easy for those people? Do we have a link they can just click to jump into the YouTube thing?
Yeah, I'll post it in the comments.
Yeah. Did anyone have any questions? Because I can't see on my end. I should answer.
Yeah, I'll monitor that for you right now. There's no questions. This is probably from Andrew, I would imagine. Woo, Koozie is the best.
Oh yeah, I saw a question. Okay. Hey, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, by the way, Andrew's working on a really cool project, which I'll talk about later. I don't know how far along you got into, but we'll talk about that later. All right. So let's go back a little bit. So basically, you're solving all their problems, giving them a dream scenario, and the steps involved to solving those problems is on the right side of your screen. And that, if you do all the things, you really create a one-of-a-kind product, aka their dream scenario, aka competition of none, aka you don't have to discount yourself, aka you're no longer a commodity, aka you get come list me's, not what do you charge, right? It's pretty cool. However, there is one more step involved in order to create these things. We have to be aware of something very, very important. And those are the 7 steps needed to sell a property. I talk about this with people on a number of occasions, and I'm going to dive through all these in a second. But this is very extremely powerful. In this market that we are experiencing, we are going to have people, and us a lot of us agents already are, maybe you can relate, where they're like very uncomfortable or unsatisfied with their current real estate agent, and they're going to call us and they want to ask for a second opinion. Now, first off, I got to give a disclaimer. You can't say anything negative or anything at all derogatory about the other agent, and you can't solicit them further. They can reach out to us. We can give advice, but we can't say anything negative. That's like my little disclaimer. So you don't get sued and I don't get sued, and we don't violate any ethics. But it's also important. Being a good real estate agent, you don't have to speak bad about anyone. But I always go through these 7 steps with them. I say, hey, these are the 7 steps needed to sell a house. And there's something here missing. That's something you need to address with your agent, right? So these 7 steps are price, condition, location, marketing, communication, negotiation, and timing. These are all the things that are needed. So if we go back one slide here and we're creating solutions to their problems. Just understand our solutions lie in these 7 steps. And this is usually where I have open dialogue if I'm live with a group, but I'm not right now. And only Andrew wants to ask questions or cheer me on. So I'm going to just say it. So I'm going to say that if you take a look at here, the top 3 things on there, price, condition, or location, those are things that price and condition, we can advise our clients on, but we don't really have direct control. That's their decision. Location is where the location is. We can dive deeper into that into another day. There are some more moving parts to that than you may think. But the 3 things that we control: marketing, communication, and negotiations. Well, if we're not getting any offers, neither are they. The negotiation is off the table. But marketing and communication are key for our clients to offer our clients, and and to talk to people who are looking for are looking for advice, because that's the 2 main important things before getting offers that us as real estate agents provide to our sellers. So we should do everything in our that we can to offer in our package of services and goods to our clients, to market aggressively, communicate effectively, and then, yes, of course, talk about negotiating really aggressively. And there's specific tactics that I teach in other courses in the boot camp too. So I'd love to come to your market center to do that. That does all of those things. But here's a kicker. Kind of deviating a little bit, but it's kind of important. Even if you do all the right things, sometimes it is just timing. Regardless of what the gurus tell you, is not always just dropping your price. Sometimes there's fish in the water. They're hungry. They're not that hungry. It could be the rates. Could be they're scared of inflation. Could be because they're scared of an election year, because of whatever. There could be a reason why those hungry fish are just not hungry enough, right? When days on market are going up, that's just something that is happening now. But that's another conversation for another day. But if we combine the 7 steps to selling a house with our action steps of how to give our clients the dream scenario on the right, you get what I call the perfect persuasion equation. This is how you best persuade someone to hire you. And persuasion is not a negative word. It's not selling. It's just giving them something that they didn't know exists, that they deserve, and that they want. And that is persuading them to work with you. It's a good thing. That's what you want to do. Sometimes when I say the word persuasion, people take it as a negative connotation, that like I'm like snake salesperson. Not at all. That is not how I work. It's just saying persuading. We're always persuading. People are always persuading us. We're always persuading other people. And as long as you're persuading people into their best interest, it's a good thing. All right. Just got to get that out there. Every time I say it, it's like, what? What do you mean? And then if we focus on, then we got to take our mindset. If we focus on spoiling our clients and our sellers, that's going to do the thing that gives them, again, word of mouth. Word of mouth is the best marketing you can do. Word of mouth comes to doing a really good job, exciting people, getting people excited about your unique product and service. Most of our colleagues don't do this thing. They do the basics. So when we step up and we do these things, they fall in love with us, and then they tell others about us. So that's how I've always done and leverage my clients to get more clients, as opposed to leveraging my listings to get more listings. A little different from what they told me to tell you, but I'll be very disingenuous if I just said whatever people expect to say instead of told them exactly what they want to say. Right. And I'm going to give you something, the most powerful secret weapon, your new superpower, to make sure that you can get to this place sooner than you imagine. What I'm going to tell you here is something incredibly simple to do, and that most of our competitors and our colleagues and they just simply don't do. It's just freaking starting. Stop the what ifs. Stop with the house, and just start. And you go, oh my God, that was so much. I don't know how to start. Just start. Just start. Just start. Because what happens is it's very easy, and it seems logical for people when they find and learn new things, that they find reasons or the path of least existence on why they can't do that thing. I'm too busy, and what if this, and what if that, and what if this? What if I spend all this time and it doesn't work? And what if I do this and I make this video and Susie thinks I'm gross? And what if this? Instead of saying that, why don't we focus the what ifs on the positive? What if I start working on this thing and it changes my career? What if I make this content and Susie thinks I'm the coolest guy in the world and tells everyone about me? What if I invest this time and energy into this thing and grow my business the right way, and it makes getting listings a lot easier? Why not focus on one of those what ifs? We don't as human beings. We always find problems and reasons not to do something. It's just who we are. So the best agents I've ever worked with and coached and mentored and be a part of are the people who just do. We just do it. And then they figure it out along the way. By over analyzing and over studying and overthinking things, what happens is you never actually end up doing. It seems logical. And it just pushes your future off into eventually where you don't do anything at all. If this sounds something familiar, then yes, I'm talking to you. But the fastest way to get what you want and the fastest way to learn is to do, adjust, a pivot. So if this was a lot for you, I have a super free, cool offer for you guys to take. I do step-by-step on this in the boot camps in person. Yes, but if boot camps are not your thing, I actually created a free training step-by-step on this here. So you could, depending on how, if you're watching this on your phone, it might be hard. But if you're watching this on your computer or your iPad, scan that code or go to hikoozie.com. And you have a free training in there, 100% free in there to go step-by-step through this process, complete with worksheets. So you scan it, join the group, or you can go to hikoozie.com. And the very first link at hikoozie.com is the free training that walks you through it. And then what's going to happen is, and I'll bring the slide right back up in a second. Maybe you weren't ready. You're going to end up in this little platform here. It's called School. And at the top, there's a classroom. And in the classroom is your free training. And it's step by step by step on how to do all of these things that we talked about today in order to leverage your clients to get more clients. So it's really cool, super free. Just do it. Just start, get your superpower. And that's what I have for you. We have about 20 minutes or so, Brett, if you want to do a Q&A or just chat it up. What you got?
Yeah, buddy. So I do want to give a little plug for your class. I was down in Boynton Beach last Tuesday, a week ago, right? And you were there with your boot camp. And there was a lot of amazing energy in that market center. They were having fun, right? So it's not a training where you're a fun guy anyway. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But everybody was engaged, having fun, moving around that office. You were doing live videos right there, right?
Yeah, we're doing a lot.
Yeah,
It's fun. You know what? So I'm not selling anything. This thing's free. I'm just talking to you. I struggle getting into real estate for like full time because I didn't like the things that we were taught to do. And I get in trouble often for people like, you shouldn't say those things, but I'm not going to lie. I didn't like the idea of cold calling and door knocking, expireds or FSBOs. I didn't like being a commodity. I was embarrassed to say I was a realtor, right, for the longest time. And I struggled with that for a very, very long time. And I didn't have a choice. In 2011, my wife got pregnant, as I mentioned earlier. And there's nothing wrong with being a bartender and being a father or a parent. Nothing wrong at all. However, I also knew that I had to make a change and quick, or being a bartender dad would become the new normal. And the change and quick, but I was not willing to do things I was not happy about doing to be a successful real estate agent as I was taught. So I was obsessed. You see a bunch of books. I don't just have books for looks. I really read a lot. Well, since my last baby, I haven't read as much, to be honest, but more audiobooks. But I do consume a lot of marketing, business type of content. And then I would try something in my business. And then if it worked, I would apply it. And if it didn't work, I moved on. Again, I didn't do the what ifs. I just started. And then I created a very interesting business model that can easily scale up to $1 million to $2 million a year if I want. But I'm very happy at my 500,000. It gives me time to be the best dad and husband I can. Maybe one day I will scale it up. Maybe I'll scale it down. But it really brought a lot of clarity into my life, a lot of peace of mind, a lot less anxiety, because I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing every day. I know exactly what I offer. I know no one else competes with me on this thing. If I get interviewed with someone else or there's no one better than what I can provide. And if they choose someone else based on the commission, I look at them, well, they're probably too ignorant to understand the value of what they're bringing, and I'm okay with that. And it really just really helped me out. So anyways, I'm very blessed and humbled that a lot of people have reached out to me over the years to help them and talk to them about methods. And I decided to make a little free training to get people started. And that's exactly what that is.
That's awesome. So I actually love the fact that you're kind of going against the grain of all the old, are they tried and true? Yes, they still work. Fizbo's expired, things like that, door knocking, it still works, but it's not for everybody. And you knew that you didn't want to do it, and yet you are highly successful. So it can work. You don't have to do those things if you don't like to do them, but then you need to follow tactics like Chris uses. And then, like Chris said, just do it. Right? You kind of figure out all the details as you're going along and taking action. But one of the problems that a lot of agents run into, like you talked about, is overthinking. I mean, I know from having buyer's agents in the past, one of them is like a sister to me, and I genuinely love her. There was a lot of overthinking. I have to know absolutely everything before I go on this appointment, or I have to know absolutely everything before I do this or that. And you're never going to know everything. So just take action and start doing.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I have a new agent, just got her license and joined the Homes by Kuzi team. And she kept on like saying, I don't know how to juggle this, my life, and get out of it and get out of the teaching all this. And I'm like, so just start. Like, that's my
Right.
answer all the time. Just
Right.
start. What do you mean just start? Just start. I don't know exactly what to do. How about the free training you have? Why don't you just start there?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you know what I mean? Like, why don't you pick up a business book and read it and then jog something in your brain and apply it? Why don't you go to an MLS class? Just freaking start. And then if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. I think what people are scared of, Brett, is they're scared of that they're not spending their time in the best way possible. And so they get overwhelmed. They don't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how is that predictive?
Yeah.
Anyways, I can get on the subject all day long. You seem bored by it.
No. I love this stuff. Because like you, I mean, my career has never been as highly successful as yours, but I've been comfortable for a long time. I'm more in, I have a passion for training and coaching agents now too, more so than selling real estate. So that's my goals, dreams, aspirations now. And you are a testament to the fact that you don't have to do the things that people hate doing. You can find things that you enjoy doing and make it work. One of the things that about you that I think most people probably know you from, if they've never seen you on a training, is your social media presence. So when you're talking about that, the buyer's agent and saying, I don't know if I have time, blah, blah, blah. Well, you are a testament to the fact that with your crazy life, it can still be done. Right? How many kids you got? 5?
Yeah, it's 5. Well, it's strategic. We can talk a little more because we have time if you want.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have to look at being a real estate agent is just like any other business. And we have to choose what kind of clients or leads that we want to go out and attract. And if you go out and you do, and this works fine for some, but just not for me. If you go out and do those things, the FSBOs, expired, cold calling, door knocking, whatever, you're going to attract a person, or you're going to get in conversations with people who are cold. And it takes a lot longer to convert those people, and they don't really want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. And then you can run ads and get cool traffic, or buy leads from like Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever. And you can buy leads and it's cool. Like, they're not totally off to you. They inquired about something, but they don't know you. Their sister's probably a realtor. And they're also hard to convert because they're wondering what's the benefit of using you. Right. So you're spending all that money, and most agents don't have that money. And if we're an ROI business, I'm not doing that. And then you have warm and hot. Warm is cultivating relationships with people. And I call it my daily HBCs. I think that's also in the training too. I don't recall. If not, it's in another version of my training. But anyways, I do the daily HBCs to nurture relationships with what I call my Dream 300 clients. And that's warm and hot, usually inbound. It's warm because you reach out consistently to them, but it turns into hot inbound, come list me's. And then you have your fourth way of generating business, which is really hot, which is come list me's essentially, or you're my guy, you're my girl. And that's creating a lot of content, promoting your product and your personal brand, the combination of two. That's a long play. That's not an overnight play. So I always tell people, do your daily HBCs to your Dream 300. If that sounds foreign to you, it's stuff. It's just my mantra that we have here.
You're working your
always
sphere with that, right? You're working your sphere of influence that you already have.
in a very organized fashion, very organized way. I'm trying to see if I have my dailies up yet. I haven't because I came here and did this first. But basically, it's the action steps I do every morning with my perfect 300 clients or hopeful clients. And that's one. But going back to the social media thing, if you're consistent with it and you're providing something of value that is not alienating yourself, I'm the best, look at me, new listing, blah, 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 right? All that crap that people don't care about. If you're connecting with people as a human being and dripping in some valuable stuff in real estate, right now I'm really focusing on reels for my value adds for real estate for a reason, or we can get into another day. But if you do that, that's hot inbound traffic that calls you. These are people that will eventually call you and just come. I had to come list me last night. It was like, I forgot what time it was. It was late. From someone who just saw my content. Actually, my last 2 listings in the last week were both from my content, come list me's, where you don't even need a listing presentation. All you got to do is you create your service menu that we basically taught here, and you say, this is what I do. These are my guarantees. Let me know when you're ready. And you text it to them. And then they always go, okay, I'm ready Thursday. Like, that's how it goes. Right.
Yeah.
And then, so the guy who came yesterday, he's been consuming my content for a while. I don't know exactly what piece he liked, but he loves the listing videos. And he goes, like, I can't wait to see what you do with my property. I'm excited. And then the second one was another guy I didn't even know he existed. He was actually listed with another broker, and he was watching my content he said for years. I didn't even know this guy was alive. And he sent me a message, just like we were talking about earlier in this training. I'm not really comfortable with my agent, blah, blah, blah. And I gave him the 7 steps, anyways, all that. But the one thing that made him switch from his old broker to me was I did content about the value of floor plans. And then he saw that, went to his agent that he had and said, hey, I want a floor plan. And his agent goes, I don't know how to do that. Or I don't. And then he immediately reaches out to me. And after conversations back and forth, again, did not push him away from her. He made that own decision on his own, just had a nice professional conversation. He ended up getting rid of her and hiring me. And I have his listing in Coconut Creek listed right now. So you don't know how long or who's watching your content. And as long as your content is consistent, and you understand it's a long game, you literally just have come list me calling every single week. Right. So that's why I do a lot of, I enjoy doing a lot of content for other reasons, but that's a big reason for business wise.
Well, and I think I know most agents would prefer the come list me's than calling FSBOs and expireds and door knocking 100 doors. Right. So when you talk about actionable items and taking action, of course, you spell it out in your training. But I'm sure there's people out there that would much rather make videos and things like that to get those come list me's. Yeah, it's a long game, but so are Facebook leads, right? Facebook ads, 12 to 18 months typically for an internet lead to come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we're selling a house here. It's not a Snickers bar. This stuff takes a while. But what I really like about content is that it's evergreen. So if you're doing stuff about, like floor plans or video tours and providing stats of that stuff, and you have that on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all that, you can always just repost that stuff. That's one. And two, I'm currently working on a spreadsheet for all of these. So I can have one unique clean place where I can send to my clients and some of the unique things that we offer. And that stuff is working for you. Those videos and that content is working for you 24/7. It's when you knock on a door, you're only knocking on that door. You can't scale that.
Right.
But when you create some video content, it's there forever. And you'll see the view counts are constantly going up, even on your old stuff. That means someone just watched your content and found that it got connected more of what you all can offer them than you didn't do anything else additionally. It just happened. And that's why I'm really big on creating a lot of content for the hot inbounds, and it's evergreen and it works for you. And it forces you to, there's other reasons too. And it forces you to step outside the box, but there's a whole other gaggle of reasons.
Yeah. I love watching it. It's first of all, you include your team and everything too. The blooper reels are hilarious. There's there's a lot of good stuff out there that you and the team are putting out. But like you said, it's kind of your portfolio that's out there. So when people are hearing about Homes by Koozie team and they go and they research you, there's all kinds of stuff. So you might have a listing video of a house that sold forever ago, but is that still relative to demonstrating what your marketing is going to be for them? Absolutely. So that's why that's evergreen, even though it's an old house, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And by doing things like listing videos, and we're attracting not only more eyes on the property, which is what they hired us to do. Remember, they essentially hired us to negotiate, communicate, and market, right? So by doing those video tours, it shows them that you're willing to do stuff that most agents aren't able to do. I know a lot of people say everyone does listing videos. That's not true. It's like 1%. And most of the videos that you see out there are just B-roll going around. Very few are walkthrough video tours, and there's a very good value there for your client. So it does serve your client a good purpose. Actually, 40% of buyers, I'm not a big fan of this company that was surveyed by Zillow, said that they rely on videos for all their purchasing efforts, especially their house. So having one is very powerful. Okay, that's one. But it also, like you said, other people who are thinking about selling their house also see that. And they go, oh, this person goes above and beyond with these different steps and tactics that we mentioned in the training today. And that's the type of person I want representing me on my sale, a go-getter. So it serves a lot of purposes.
Yeah, and you said something key, because I was backstage chuckling when you were talking about some of the photos that get taken and they don't clean their lens and their vertical and all that stuff, right? It's also like with videos. There's agents that say they do videos, and all it is a slideshow of their photos, and that is not really a video.
All the time, man. All the time. Well, fine. Listen, whatever. That's what they're gonna do. That's a start. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, for me personally, it's someone who wants to express who I am as a human being to other people. That videos also help with that too for me. And it also repels people who don't like me, which is even more important.
Yeah. That's a very interesting point. I love that. I love that you are keen enough to notice that, and that weeds out difficult situations from you don't even have to get into.
Yeah, it's perspective, right? So right now on this live, there's 40 people watching right now, right? And they're watching the same two guys you and I talk. A lot of them saw the same presentation, right? And I think 6 people signed up for the free the training. That means 34 didn't. So that tells you 6 people really loved what they heard and saw the value in it. And 34 other people are still here, but they haven't done it. It's because their perception may not be liking either me as a person or what I presented. One of those 2 reasons. That's the only reason why I did it. So I always tell my people, when they're so scared of making content, putting themselves out there, and I always say, it doesn't matter what everyone says. You don't need everyone to like you. We need people who are like you to like you, and people who get it. Right. So I think that's an extremely important thing. So when there's 6 people out of the 40 who sign up for that free training right now, I know those are my people. That's who I'm reaching out to. The other 34, I don't know. Hi, I love you, but they might not be, right? So that is just as important to me, is weeding out the people who don't like you, as it is attracting people who do. I know that sounds kind of negative, but it's true. I'd be around people who don't like you.
Absolutely. So Lynn says, I definitely see the value. This is the way I want to get more business. Thank you. And thanks for putting it in, Lynn. Yeah. So Chris, I think if there was an overall theme behind your entire presentation, and I think this is a reflection of the change in the market too, would you say that it's service?
I would say no matter what. That's, if you're opening up any business, 1,000,000%, it's about them. If they're paying us, We need to service them. If you're selling, I'll give you a good example. I just got to find two things that are similar. Let's say, I don't know. Okay, so here are like two. Oh, there you go. Two of the exact same thing. Camera batteries. So I have two camera batteries here. Do the exact same thing. They do the exact. There's no difference in these batteries, right?
Right.
Which one? How do you increase the value of one of these if they do the exact same thing?
I need to get more from one of them than the other. Whether
Well,
it's
but you
probably
can't.
through service.
But how? They do the same thing, Brett.
Because
which one do you buy?
told me that if I buy that one battery from you in your left hand, you're going to charge it for me every time it needs to be charged.
Yeah, that's a good point. But let's just imagine that these are the same product. You're buying them off a shelf. The same thing. They offer the same services. You have to drop the price. I'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
That's what most realtors do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the problem is when you drop your price, there's a baseline, there's zero, and you attract bottom feeders, and they're never happy. It's lazy. Any fool can drop their price.
True.
On the flip side, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you're in the habit of dropping your price too, I think that reputation follows you.
100%.
And for you to try to raise your price later, they're going to be like, but no, you've done it for all these people for this amount.
And it shows you can't negotiate.
Yep.
Right? And it shows that you don't even value what you're offering.
Right.
So fine. I want those people to go to other agents. I'm cool with that. What I choose to do is what you were mentioning before, adding value to one. What if this one auto charges when it dies? What if this has a lifetime warranty that every time it dies, a new one gets mailed? Every time it stops working for whatever and it doesn't charge anymore, a new one gets mailed to you.
Yeah, I want that.
What if they put more components in there, they'll last twice as long before a charge? It's the same product, but if you can add services around this product, then you're more valuable. And people who value are willing to pay more for that thing. Yep. All you got to do is find a way to provide more value and services for your clients, which everyone should be doing anyhow.
Yep. And there it is. That's the main thing right there, right? Service and value. Chris, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise with everybody. We really appreciate it. It's always good to spend time with you.
Thanks for having me.
If they want to get a hold of you, I know we had, they can probably find how to contact you from your training, right? But if they want to send referrals your way.
Yeah, that same link. This same link here, hikuzi.com, has everything. My Facebook, my YouTube. Yeah, if you want to connect, follow me on whatever you follow me on, I'll follow you back. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'll follow you right back. We'll do a little circle of love here.
Awesome. I love it. Buddy, thanks again. Thank you so much. And we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we've got Maria Responte coming up. All right, so we'll be back in a little bit.
Don't know a thing about what this is like. I don't want to think about what's ahead. I'm here now. 'Cause I've always wanted to feel alive. Live in the moment, let the future arrive. I'm gonna tell the world the way it's going down. Let tomorrow be tomorrow, not here now. Won't let them bother me, I'm not gonna waste my time. Come and join and get it started in this town. I'd rather be fun than what they say won't be safe and sound. There's time for that, but not now. And while we are young, let's be stupid. Just you, me, and the night. The one thing we should know is that we got plenty of time. are young and we got plenty of time. And I've got nothing else but you on my mind. We got plenty of time. Yeah, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time. Yeah. Oh, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Hey, listen up, I've tried to tell you this 100 times. Not getting better by lying there pretending to cry. You on repeat, you can see, cause you have closed your eyes. You say you listen, but you're missing what it's all about. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah. I try to help you, but you keep reading between the lines. There's nothing there for you to complicate, we're not aligned. You say you listen, but guessing that's just another sign. Not growing up, you're growing old, your life keep passing. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah. Now if you break it, I can take it, I don't need a prize. Leave out the fact that I am up against 1,000 guys. My intuition efficient, cause I can use my mind. Don't try to tell me how it's done, you haven't done your time. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah. Rise up now. If you never fall, you don't change at all. Cry out now. Have you given up? I will never stop, yeah.
I was worried you blow my reputation, but I figured it's not on me. Yeah. The way you're making me shiver, your hands on myself, I keep pulling the trigger right. This very finger for people like them. Oh no. But darling, on my mind, I'm feeling so fly up in the zone now. I'm like a golden crown, whirling high up in the sky. Oh, it's the way you make me feel so good right now. It's the way you make me feel so good. I keep on falling astray from my intuition, but I'm pretending it's not my fault. No. The way you make me glitter, you drink me like liquor, keep painting the picture, alright. No, I don't care much for people like them. Oh, nah, nah. Well, darling, on my mind, I'm feeling so fly up in the zone now. I'm like a golden crown, whirling high up in the sky, oh. It's the way you make me feel so good, feel so good right now. It's the way you make me feel so good,
All right, we are back, and I am going to bring up one of my favorite trainers, leaders, people in the world, Dora Cherico. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you, Brett?
Doing great, thank you.
Awesome.
You are going to introduce us to an amazing agent, aren't you?
I am. I'm very excited.
Awesome. Let's bring her up. Hi, Maria.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. She's my favorite tech trainer too.
I pay her a lot to say this. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
You're getting your money's worth.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us this morning. I have the pleasure of introducing one of my favorite agents who's been with us for quite a few years. 7 years? Seven. I was going to say 6 and I wasn't sure. So she's been with us for 7 years at the KW Wellington office. I'm going to let her tell you all about her, but welcome to the set here, Maria Responti.
Thank you. Yes, 7 years with KW and I couldn't be any happier, right? So for me, I've been in real estate about 30 years. I know that's hard to believe because I look 20. But
This is true.
it all started with title. I was a escrow officer for 18 years, and it was followed by foreclosure law for 7. And I also was that was a little overlap there. But when I had my son, I switched over to the agent side. My husband and I are investors in the market. We have multiple investment properties and looking into multifamily buildings next. And that's been a great transition. I have been luxury for 7 years. I've sat on ALC the past 6 years. And I've been fortunate to be in the top 10% for the past 7 years as well in the office.
Awesome.
A little bit about me.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, Maria, Dora and I are going to duck out here and let you take over and share all that awesome knowledge with our agents. All right.
That sounds great. I love it. So we're going to discuss how to market your listing, right? So today, more than ever, it's most important to really get your listings out to the community, to the buyer, and more importantly, to the agents for buyers. I seem to be one of the few that believe that the agent is our client just as much as the buyer, right? So I have a 10-step process that our team works on to market a listing. First piece is to have your graphics ready to go, right? So when I was a solo agent, I learned that having to spend hours on Canva was not what I needed to do. So I did not reinvent the wheel. If you want to go on to Etsy and download a group or a bundle of just sold, just listed, under contract, templates, it makes life easier, right? So we have created our brand through what we've downloaded, and it's consistent. So our first piece of marketing is getting all the graphics ready, whether it's just listed, coming soon, just sold, under contract. We have our colors, we have our branding, everything remains the same. All we have to do is put the actual listing in there, right? The house, the condo, whatever it is that we're selling, and everything remains the same. From there, we start the coming soon. We utilize the 21 days of the MLS listing, right? So you can put it as coming soon for 21 days. And just prior to that, we're going to do a coming soon without the address, because you cannot have the address as part of your coming soon, or else you have to put it on the MLS, at least here, within 24 hours. So what we like to do is share it as much as possible. Let's say when it's in the MLS and we have 21 days, right? We're sharing it on multiple platforms, all the social media, the TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere somebody can see it. And we share it within groups on Facebook, right? If you don't have a agent group in Facebook, I suggest creating it. We have one here. It's Wellington, it's Palm Beach. We want to get it out to as many people as possible. So if we get it out to the agent, we're flooding it everywhere, right? Then we're going to start an ad campaign around that. So for the first 21 days, we're going to put it up for our coming soon. We're going to market when we're doing our brokers open, which is a week before our open house. So what we have is our cheat sheet that we have our 10-step process here, right? And I'm happy to share this with everyone once we're off the call and have it available to you. So we're sharing it through Facebook. We're sharing it through Instagram. We're getting as much traction to all the agents first. We love doing brokers opens on Wednesdays. We caravan. We go through the MLS Wednesday morning marketing madness. We'll go to Palm Beach Gardens and do it. We'll go to as many as possible and share it with the agents. If we can get them to the home, they're going to share it to their clients and say, hey, this is coming up soon. We want, a preview the first day, right? So to draw more people to our brokers open with agents, we like to do a gift card, a giveaway. We have sponsors. We're making a big deal about it. The last time we had one was for Cinco de Mayo. We had margaritas, we had tacos, we had plenty of people coming through. It was a great brokers open, which led to a great open house. Those agents will send their buyers to the open house on a Saturday or Sunday, maybe if we're doing them twice. And the key for your open house is to flood the area with signs. We have found that signs work and help all day, right? We'll start with the night before. We'll put them up in the morning. We have kids come out and put them up for us. It gets real hot out there on a Saturday if you're doing a lot of signs, right? So once that is scheduled for the open house, what we do is a Facebook targeted marketing campaign. And what that is, we're marketing it to everyone in our database. We've added them to a target audience on Facebook. We share it out that way, and we're running an ad through the 21 days to say that this is coming soon. This is when the open house is. Come join us. That's one segment of the Facebook ad. Second is a circle prospecting ad where we will pull the data of neighbors within a 2-mile radius, and we send them an invitation, not solicitation, but an invitation to come view the home for the first hour prior to the open house. I know it's nosy neighbor time. People are coming to see what everybody is listing, what their house looks like. The invitation says, dear nosy neighbor, come see the home. If you want to pick your neighbor, this is the time to see it. You have an hour preview before it opens to the public to come see the house. We've had great success with that. So invite the neighbors. Don't just pass out a flyer. Tell them you're invited. You get first dibs on picking your neighbor. Share it with your friends. So we build this momentum around the open house, right? We've contacted the brokers, we've gotten the buyers, and we've had times where we've had food trucks, we've had ice cream trucks, we've had arts and crafts for kids there. The more you can build it up, the better it is. You don't want to just throw something on the MLS on Wednesday and say, hey, here's an open house, come join us. It's the last thing you want to do. You want everyone to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and it's repetitive. You do it all the time. People will start recognizing, oh, here they come. Here's your family living. They're going to be out here for the next 20 days marketing this house. And people will start doing drive-bys. People are going to start calling you. You can start taking appointments beforehand. And if you have enough momentum, go live on the MLS. You don't have to wait the 21 days for the coming soon. If you have enough, then just pull the trigger and go live. So what this also does is sets our sellers up for, hey, we've had so much momentum, right? We've had so many people come, but we have no offers, right? So that's when you're starting to pull in your price reductions. And that's when you start doing the cycle all over again, minus the brokers open. But you need to utilize everything that the MLS has for you. So we've started circle prospecting our properties around what else has been listed in the MLS and has been on the market for maybe 30 days or more, where we can pull the agents through showing times and the MLS of who has showed properties around our listing. So we contact them and we say, hey, I know that you've showed X property on 75th Street. We have one coming up on 74th. We'd like for you to come see it. We send out email blasts. We're sending out text blasts. Hey, it could be Palm Beach Gardens. And we'll say, hey, Palm Beach Garden agents, come see this. If you're not marketing to the agent as much as you are marketing to the buyers or potential buyers, you're going to miss something. The agents are wanting to push property. They want to sell property. So why not market directly to them? Make sure your subject line is something that an agent wants to know. Maybe it's what the compensation is before things change next month or the month after. You want to make sure that they know this one has a guest house. Whatever stands out about that property should be what is in your subject line. Right? The other is local businesses, right? So some people want to work close by to where they are, right? So we do a lot out in Loxahatchee, which is acre lots. A lot of people have businesses. There's not many rules and regulations. You can have RVs, you could have workshops. So what we've started doing is contacting local businesses so that we can advertise our listings in their businesses. They'll let us post it. They'll let us share it. We have QR codes to contact us. And it's a great resource. People are going in and out of these local businesses all day. So that gives us exposure there. Then we become very friendly with those businesses where we start to market them as well. We do a lot of co-branding. We're bringing in not only our vendors, but local businesses to say, hey, these people really know the market. These agents are experts in our area. They're out here all the time. Those are the things that we want to share, right? Those are the traditional type ways of marketing. Now, when you get into a luxury space, it becomes very different. I'm part of the Luxury Pro space, which is a great group of agents that network throughout the country. So we have threads that we can add just for luxury. There are outside vendors that we love to use that start to market also in the Robb Report, the Wall Street Journal. You need to understand who your client is and who the buyer is. That's where it becomes a defining point. So you don't want to market your luxury properties with all of your traditional properties. They're a separate entity and should be treated the same but different at the same time, right? So you want to be in the Wall Street Journal. You want to be in the Robb Report. You want to be in luxury group areas. You want to be talking to people who can get your property in front of other folks, right? So we have a high referral. We do a lot of referrals. So we have a lot of people coming from the Northeast. We know our buyers for luxury and traditional are coming from the Northeast and California. So we tend to market a lot of our properties in those areas as well. I've contacted other brokerages, KW and other brokerages as well in the Northeast and in California, and say, hey, we have this property, whether it's traditional or not, we like to share with your agents what it is. So I think thinking outside the box has worked out very well for us. And we've benefited from it, and our clients appreciate it as well. So that's something that everybody should be looking into, finding out where your buyers are coming from, where your agents are, and find out what their need is and how they're marketing their properties where they are. Because we have so many people coming to Palm Beach County that you can't isolate your marketing to just the Tri-County area. So that's our 10-step process. I don't know if anybody has any questions before we keep going. Dora?
Are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay. Sorry, I don't have the controls on the back end. So I'm like, let me in, Brett, let me in. I actually do. Thank you, Brett. I do. I want to circle back just a little bit because I think it's important. Some of the things you said. First of all, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to Chris Cusimano before you, but one of the things that I'm hearing is value and service, right? So I think that's what you provide when you do these. What I'm seeing is like a whole nother value, right? You outside the box is your value, right? You're servicing everybody at a high level. The other thing that I heard you guys say was, which I thought was interesting, because I know this about you, but I didn't with Chris, is, you know, you're loving on not only your people and your clients, you're loving on the other agents. Like you're getting them involved and playing nice in the sandbox, right? So I think it's important to the relationships with clients or with agents is just as important as relationships with clients, right?
Yeah. So we all do the gift for our buyers. We always do a gift for our sellers, whether it's small, big, or whatever people are doing. But I like to gift to the agent on the other side, whether it may be a bottle of wine, a bouquet of flowers, a gift card. Some things, you know, there are transactions that really can take a toll on us, right? That we're up late at night, we're working weekends, we're losing time with our families, and we're appreciating and loving on our buyers and sellers, our clients. But we have to remember that the agent on the other side is just as much a client as everyone else, right? So recently I had where we go to close next week on a property, and the agent was so excited that it was me on the listing side. She's like, I know it'll go fine. We're choosing yours over the other one. And the other listing was just a couple of doors down. But she knew what she would get when she was working with our team, and it's been seamless, right? So that is a value not only for the agent on the other side, but our clients, where we can say, hey, you know what, we won the deal because that agent knows how we work. And I think that playing in the sandbox is very important. And I think whatever we say after we get off the phone is different than what we're going to say on the phone, right? We could be all sweet and ginger-like, and then it's like, oh, but it's okay, right? So you have to respect everybody on the other side. That's all it comes down to. So that's a very big value. And Chris does a great job of it. He always has. We did Bold together years ago, and I learned a lot from him. So yeah, we're Bold teammates. So,
there was something else that you went into great detail about that I think needs to be addressed, because I see it all too often where agents hear that open houses are important, so they want to do them. They want to sit them for other established agents and things like that. And then they get frustrated with them because nobody shows up because they started advertising it like the day or two before.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's something that we've all done and we've had to learn from. We either learn it quickly or we don't. We learned it very quickly a couple of years back that there had to be a system. You couldn't just take it, throw it on the MLS and expect 100 people to come through, right? So it's very important on our team, right? We have the checklist. We have an admin, I have a TC and a buyer's agent. The buyer's agent, open houses is her jam. And I think she's going to be on a call sometime soon about that. But she knows that if she's going to be doing an open house, whether it's for our team or another team, that better be up on the MLS no later than Monday, which is 5 days before the open house, right? Because how are you going to be able to market to everyone in less than 5 days? I don't know how it's possible, right? So we are going to local businesses. We're putting stuff up. We're even asking people at Starbucks, like, hey, can I put this in your window? Like we want traction. We'll give them a gift card. We'll give them anything, to come back to Starbucks. Especially in our area where we have acre lots. It's really hard to door knocking, right? So what we like to do is send an invitation. How am I going to send an invitation if I'm putting it up the night before, right? So we're joining any group that we can, right? So sometimes they say there's no soliciting. I'll have the owner join 5 different groups in her area, give her the link to our site, right? To our listing on our website, not Flex MLS. I want whoever's in those groups to come to me, right? So we have them share it out on Facebook groups that are mom groups, business owner groups. Because if you're a member and not an agent, it's not solicitation, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll give her the verbiage, the pictures, the emojis. We'll give her everything that she or he needs to put up on those Facebook groups to generate traction. We've started implementing 18-year-old kids, who can drive, who have pickup trucks, who want to make money on a Saturday morning, and we'll pay them $100 to go out and put signs. We'll do a map. We'll tell them what intersection. They get $100. They got to come back and pull up the signs, right? Who wants to be out there in shoes, a dress, and everything? And you get to the open house and you're dripping in sweat. Leverage, right? It's leverage. I'm all about leverage. Dora knows that. If I can pay somebody to do it and get away with it, I'm good. I'm golden, right? So I also found with the open houses, when we can door knock and they say there's no solicitation, I'm not soliciting, I'm inviting you, right? It's a different conversation. Hey, we just want to invite you over. We're going to be having an open house. Come see us on Saturday between 12 and 2, or we're having nosy neighbor time from 11 to 12. You'd be surprised how many nosy neighbors want to come by and see the house first because they wanted to know what the kitchen looks like or what did they do. And a lot of the time they do know a buyer. So it's something that we take for granted. That's easy marketing.
I love that you call that out for what it is. Like there's no beating around the bush. Hey, all you nosy neighbors, you get your own time.
Yeah. Why not? Because we've had people say, oh, my brother-in-law is moving from New York and wants to come down, but they're going to help me with the kids. Great. Come during the nosy neighbor time. Our clients know we do nosy neighbor. Your neighbors will want to come. I want them out of the way. And I want them, for the first hour. We'll do a wine cocktail party. We'll do whatever it is. The 55 and older community is known for it. So we have the wine, and we get those cookies in those little metal tins. Remember those, that have like 8 different kind of, they love it. They come by, they see, what do they know? They know other people who are retiring that want to be in a community where they know other people.
It's what I love, Maria, though, that by doing all of this, though, you're actually showing the other sellers. This is what people miss. They're showing the other clients, potential clients or potential sellers, hey, look what we do to get your home sold.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's a win-win, not only for your client, but also for anybody else that wants to sell, because you're going above and beyond and you're making it a special, invite, so I love that.
And you have to be, it has to be fun, right? So you could put, the picture of somebody with the big glasses looking out and, call them the nosy neighbor. They like the idea that we've called them out on it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to lie. You don't have to not give me your, your info. I don't want your info.
Right.
Because if it's working, you're going to want my info.
Right.
And that's the thing, right? It's understanding. That's him. He's the nosy neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Right. Wilson. Funny. Remember Wilson? Mm-hmm. But I think making it a fun event, because even for us, right? We don't want to be, dreadful. I got to go do this.
Yeah.
We love going to people and saying, we're giving you some free time. I think with the market that we're getting into and the market that we're in, we need to do more to service our sellers, to show them we're doing everything we can, right? So I even had an open house for a luxury rental, right? Who's doing that, right? So we had a rental that was listed for $10,000 a month, and we invited agents, come see it. Maybe you have a client. It's negotiable. Let's get it moving. And my client, who's a repeat client, had said to me, every time you do something, it's something different. Like I would have never expected you to do an open house or a broker's open for a rental.
Well, especially in the Palm Beach area, if people that are on right now that are in this Palm Beach area, right, we have a lot of luxury rentals.
Right.
So that is a great idea because nobody is doing it. Right. Yeah. And you're right. We, as agents, we're thinking, oh, an open house, to that. So if you theme it and make it fun, then it's just 2 hours or 4 hours of a fun event. Right. Mm-hmm. You do Twilight too, don't you? I'm not sure if you mentioned that here.
Yeah. So we do Twilights on Thursday afternoons. So we like to do 4 to 6. So you get the working people coming out of work. So maybe they don't want to do on a Saturday, or they have football, or the kids have travel soccer and stuff. It gives them another opportunity to actually see the property without having to lose their Saturday or Sunday. So what we like to do is a 4 to 6, 5 to 7, come see us after work, have, hors d'oeuvres or appetizers with a drink, see the house, see what the community offers. And it's all about how we get them there as well, right? We're not just saying, oh, let's just do one on Thursday. It's really a planning. And if you don't have that, 10-step process, it's hard to remember everything, right? So even getting ready for the open house, if you don't have a constant checklist of what you need, it's not going to be successful. Yeah. How successful is it with warm water in South Florida?
Yeah, not.
Right? It's not, right? So you have to have, I'm seeing a question. Do open houses at 55 and no? So some communities do. For those that don't, we do an invitation open house, right? So I may not be able to have signs inside the community, but I put them on the divider or across the street, arrowing in. Okay. And then I have the gate call the house, and the open house is not publicized throughout the community, but you can still do an invitation. You can say, hey, we're having a gathering to show the home for sale, not call it an open house. You have to be creative in how you're going to do it, right? You could do a broker's open, invite all the agents to come see the house, see who's coming, have them put at the gate, anybody who's a realtor is able to come to the house. You're not publicizing an open house within the community. You have to do it outside. You have to put your signs pointing in on public property. So you do need to get a little creative with the 55 and olders.
That's a good question. Actually, yeah.
That was a great question. So
I want to circle back real quick, Maria, because you mentioned something, and those that are local, I don't know if other other areas do this, but tell everybody about Marketing Madness and what that is, and that way, if they're not in the area, they can maybe create something like that on their coast, or if they are in the area, they can take advantage of Marketing Madness. So give them a little bit about that.
So Marketing Madness is through your local MLS, right? So we have Beaches MLS, and we have offices in Boca, West Palm, Treasure Coast, Port St. Lucie, and Palm Beach Gardens. So what they started is I can say in Wellington, where we are, on Wednesday mornings at 8:30 starts Marketing Madness. And what that is, from 8:30 to 9, agents get to mingle with each other. They can get to know each other. They can chat. It's really just a cohort of agents sharing ideas. And then from 9 to 9:30, what we get to do is we get to pitch our listings, right? And ours is on Wednesday. So we've created, or we've always had, brokers opens on Wednesday, where other offices have jumped on the same time. And what we do is say, hey, we're having a brokers open. Come see what we have. We're doing a giveaway. We're having food. We're having drinks, whatever it may be. Those agents, whether they're from your office or another office, are going to Caravan and come see your properties, right? So when we would have 5, 6, 7 agents come through on a broker's open, we now have 15, 25 agents. We had an agent in our office last week who had 55 agents come through his luxury listing, okay? And it was a huge success. It went on for 4 hours.
Because of Marketing Madness?
Because he went to Marketing Madness at 8:30. He pitched it. He was having food throughout the day, and his brokers open went from 10 a.m. to 2. How great is that for your seller?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
they do.
That just shows that you took the time out and you're going the extra mile, right? It's service and value, right? Same.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm not great at going to the Marketing Madness. That young lady who just popped up there, Rebecca, is great at doing the market. There she is. She's great. You know, she gets there. She's talking to everybody. She's inviting them, telling them what the house is featuring. And you can go to multiple, right? So we go to the Wellington one. Rebecca, who's on our team, goes to Palm Beach Gardens at times. We'll start going to the Boca ones, because if you have something that somebody else wants, it may not be in your local area. It could be an agent from 3 cities south of here. And I say that because people are coming from all over, right? Yeah. So it's not like we're not showing property in Port St. Lucie. We're not showing property in Boca. You want to get to know all these people. You want to be the expert, yes, for your area, but you want to be that person that everybody knows, right? And they're saying, oh my God, I want to go with, Rebecca, because I know her and I want to show you this property. It's great. Or I want to go with Tony because he's great and whatever it may be. Your job is to expose yourself to as many people as possible. And I think once we get to a point where we can expose ourselves to other agents is key, right? Because they may have heard your name, right? So Chris, who's down, I think in Boca, we all know him up here, right? So we want to share our listings with him. Just like with Sandra down in Weston, right? I've sold in Weston plenty of times. Why would I not want to be local there as well? So I think with the change in the market that's coming, we really need to hone in on really our reputation, our integrity, and be that agent that people want to work with. And not only you're marketing your properties, but you're marketing yourself. And that is just as important.
Absolutely. Knowing your value is key. I think if anybody needs to start somewhere, that's where they need to start, is to figure out what their value is. And then just go hard with that, right? So it's interesting because I know you do stuff, all of South Florida. But what's nice is, like, even if you are not able to go to Weston, you've now made this connection that you can give the referral out, and you're going to put it in the hands of somebody who's doing the same value and service, offering the same value and service as you are.
100%.
So I love that, right? Same with Chris. You know that if you want to give him a referral, it's going to be taken care of just like you would take care of it. And that's the beauty about getting to know agents at a higher level.
Correct.
Because you want the same service if you can't service somebody in another area.
Right. And I'm going to say this, and I've said it in the past, and I will continue preaching it. I love Bold, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will go to Bold every year. I think I've been there 5 times straight already. Not only for the teaching, not only for the material, but for the people that you will meet at that table in that room for 8 weeks is priceless.
Well, because you're building a relationship. You're not just sitting at a table with somebody.
Right. So, and I'll give a great example that during COVID, it was hard to win, right? It was very hard to win. And someone had marketed a property. I knew what it was. I knew the agent. He was on my team at Bold. And get this, I had 100% financing for a VA during COVID. And I was like, I called and I'm like, I need it. We really need this one. And he knew that the deal was going to get done. And my client won that deal. Out of 14 contracts, we got it. And it was relationship based. He knew it would get done. He knew there was going to be no challenges along the way. And even if it was financed, it was done in 30 days. But be sure that when you're marketing a property and you're talking to people on the phone and it's the agent, you're doing yourself justice and you're doing them justice, right? Don't discount any agent that you're talking to, because I always get, oh, they're a new agent. I don't care. They're going to be a seasoned agent soon, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're marketing your property, remember, you're marketing your reputation as well. That's your name on there. That's your franchise's name on there. Mm-hmm. And if you have a bad reputation, your house is not going anywhere. So give it equal love.
Yeah. Maria, before we get off and stuff here, and if anybody has any questions, but recap all your steps real quick for me, because I think I missed something. So can you recap so that everybody can have it?
So first we do our graphics. We have downloaded from Etsy everything. We don't reinvent the wheel. We may change the colors, but it remains the same no matter what property. The colors remain the same. The font remains the same. And we get everything set up right away. So from coming soon to just closed, those templates are completed. We go coming soon in the MLS for 21 days. We share it on Facebook, Instagram, our personal pages, our professional pages. Don't forget to share it on your personal pages, right? Because you may know somebody who wants that property. So we also like to share in all the agent Facebook groups, because we want to get it out there before it even hits the buyers. Because as much as I would love to have both sides of the deal, I just want to get the property sold. And if somebody else has the buyer, that's most important to me. If your area does not have a Facebook group of agents, create it. It's great, right? And have everybody involved in it, because it's a great way to showcase your property, where you can, in the days to come, share what the compensation is, right? You can share when it's going to be live, what we're going to have, anything that you want, you can share that people would need to know. So we do a targeted ad after that. During that targeted ad, not only is it everyone in our database, because again, we're still marketing us, right? So our database has a separate targeted ad so that people can see us coming up all the time with a new listing, right? So that if they have a listing, or I'm sorry, if they're going to list, they may want to come with us because they see us constant, right? It's always a thread to
top of mind.
Yeah. And then from there, we have a separate targeted ad for where our clients have come from. We know that our clients, if they're out of state, they're coming from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and California. So we go into the map on command. and where we see the migration to our area, right? So in Palm Beach County, the joke is we're the 6th borough of New York. So we have a lot of people coming from there. I'm originally a New Yorker. So I have friends, family, everything up there. And I share it with friends who are agents, may not be KW agents, but sure enough, they're going to have somebody. And what that did was create a great referral network for me. So I do a lot of agent to agent referrals. I probably get 50% of my referrals from Long Island, right? Because that's where I'm from.
Nice.
So we target there. We're very big in those 4 states. Then after that, we start with the Brokers Open. We plan a Brokers Open. We try to at least plan it 2 weeks in advance. If not, it's a week in advance. We get it out to Marketing Madness during that time. We're getting it out to other brokerages. We're getting it out on the Facebook groups. We're sharing it as an event, right? If you can use events in Facebook, use the event, invite people. You'll see people who are interested, call them, tell them about it. They're already inquiring about it, tell them more, right? We're having to get back out on the phones. We're having to get back and texting people. It's not just throw it up and it's going to get sold in 48 hours. So once the Brokers Open is done, we're already advertising that day for when the open house is. Brokers Open comes to an end. Open house is the following week, Saturday, Sunday. We like to do the first 1 or 2 ourselves so we can see what the traction is, see who's coming, who's not, what's not working, what is working. And then we share it with other people who may want to do the open house. However, they have to follow our system. They can't
You
just
mean agents, like new agents in the office is what you're talking
Right.
about, right? Like if you're giving them an opportunity to hold an open house.
Sure. But we give them the plan. This
Yeah,
is what
right.
it is, right? You have to do this. If you don't have signs, we're going to give you our signs. You can use them. We'll direct people your way if they call us. One thing that we've started utilizing is a Google Voice number on our signs so that they could be added to someone else's phone, right? So we know that for that time period, anybody who calls on that is probably calling about an open house. Again, we send out the invitations. Nosy Neighbors, you can come an hour before. Then there's the open house invitation for everyone else. We hit local businesses. We're hitting as many doors as we can with door knocking. Be careful of the solicitation, but again, if you use, it's an invitation, it's not as much solicitation as a polite invite. So when all of that happens and we're on the market for a while and nothing's happening, then we know to go for the price reduction, right? So there's a rule of thumb, the 5% and the 10%. If you're not getting anything, you're 5% off on the price if you're not getting any traction. If you're getting a lot of traction and no offers, your price point, you're off by about 10%. And we explain that to sellers right off the bat. So I will say, though, we do stop at some point if we know that they are extremely far off on price, right? We have people who think it's still 2020, right? So we have that brutal conversation that they need to get the price reduction. Once we get that price reduction, it starts all over again, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's most important. And like I said, I'm happy to share all of this with you.
That would be great.
Yep. So,
Brett, are there any questions, Brett, in the chat? I know Brett's somewhere on here.
I'm here. So, Kuzi's been listening, Maria, and he just wanted to bolster your point about the importance of Bold. He's doing a deal right now with a former Bold group partner, and it likely is because of that relationship. So not only is it amazing training, but we hear these stories all the time about people developing referral networks and partnerships through that, right?
Right. It's key.
Yeah. Yep.
I've had from my Bold coaches referrals.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fantastic. And then Michelle said, she said, good point about your reputation being just as important as your listing. I thought that was pretty powerful too.
Yep. Well, it's true because, we have those people that we say, oh my God, I would never do a deal with that person. How awful is that? Right?
It is.
How awful is it that somebody would say, I don't want to show this property because that agent has a horrible reputation, and we're all guilty of it. It's whether you bite the bullet or you don't.
Right. Yep.
So.
Well, awesome.
Well,
Any final words of wisdom, Maria, before we go to break?
Get very tech savvy. Get on the Facebook. Get comfortable with uncomfortable, because it is it's going to take over.
I love that. So as an AI guy myself, right, you better embrace it or you'll get left behind by the agents that do.
You sure will. And I'm guilty of it. So, but I have to work on AI. What? You got me. I know, right? Dora and I were the two on Zoom during COVID trying to figure out smart plans.
Oh my God, when they first came out.
Maria, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you if they want to send you a referral?
Either by phone or email.
Phone number?
The phone number is 561-800-3609. Call, text, or email is great.
Awesome.
All
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Thank you, Maria, for jumping on today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Maria.
How are you?
Good. Glad to have you. Thank you for plugging our tech.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. So,
all right, ladies. Well, we are going to head to break, and then we've got Sandra Rathie coming up for the final guest spot, right? We're going to get into some luxury marketing. And after that, we will have Dora. Are you going to be able to stick around and answer questions?
Sure.
Awesome. So that last hour is hanging out with your favorite MCTTs and our awesome RTT. So if you have any questions, you will have your regional tech trainers and market center tech trainers to bounce those off of. All right. We will see
you, Maria.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
She didn't love you back. All she did was leave a hole in your chest. You didn't get that job, even though you really gave it your best. And now you're wondering what's the point of anything at all. But let me tell you why, that's just life putting you through the test. Before the dawn, it's always dark. Before the light, there is a tunnel. Before you run, you gotta stumble. When you fall in love, but it don't work out. When you've cried at least 100 times. When you feel so stuck, but you can't get out. Just remember, there will come a day when it all works out, and you didn't even have to try. You will find a way if you hold on now and remember that the only way is up from here. You say you're getting old, but what do you know about what's to come? Cause what the future holds, nobody knows till the race is all won. So if you're wondering what's the point of anything at all?
It's to live your life, live it right now, 'cause you only get one. Before the dawn, it's always dark. Before the light, there is a tunnel. Before you run, you gotta stumble. When you fall in love, but it don't work out. When you've tried at least 100 times. When you feel so stuck, but you can't get out. Just remember, there will come a day when it all works out. And you didn't even have to try. You will find a way if you hold on now. And remember that the only way is up from here. The only way is up from here. When you fall in love, but it don't work out. When you've cried at least 100 times. When you feel so stuck and you can't get out. Just remember, ooh, there will come a day when it all works out. And you didn't even have to try. You will find a way if you hold on now. And remember that the only way is up from here. Aren't you tired of the drama? You use your words like they are knives. I don't need that type of drama. And trying to be tough all the daytime. You try to make yourself feel better by taking me down. Once I fell, but now I'm strong. I'm ready for the rematch. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up? Yeah, baby, I will fight. No, there ain't nothing stopping me. I'm bulletproof, I won't fall. I'm bulletproof, go on and shoot me down. I will always get up again. You're looking at me so cold. Get over yourself, are you for real? Why are you looking at me so cold? One's love is now we're enemies. You try to make yourself feel better by taking me down. Once I fell, but now I'm strong. I'm ready for the rematch. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up? Yeah, baby, I will fight. No, there ain't nothing stopping me. I'm bulletproof, I won't fall. I'm bulletproof, go on and shoot me down. I will always get up again. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up? Yeah, baby, I will fight. No, there ain't nothing stopping me. I'm bulletproof, I won't fall. I'm bulletproof, go on and shoot me down. I will always get up again. I'm have to wait. You whisper to me there's no maybe. There's only time for dreams even greater. I hear the call. Then I close my eyes to see even clearer. I see it all. I know that we can go higher if we keep our faith, if we keep our faith. Sometimes I'm like a whisper in a riot, but I grow stronger, keep believing in me. Through every fry, cause sometimes I can see through the echo of every day, always the same, until you take a step and let go. You told me that the shakes turn them brighter, I don't know how. You showed me every heart is a fighter, time is now. I know that we can go higher if we keep our faith, if we keep our faith. Sometimes I'm like a whisper in a riot, but I grow stronger, keep believing in me. Say you're believing in me. You're believing in me. Say you're believing in me. You're believing in me. You must think that I'm a restless case because I ran away, If you listen to the words I say, you know that I'm okay, you know it's just a phase. Don't think I'm leaving cause I'm not at all, and if you get hurt it's unintentional. I just wanted you to realize that I'm the one you like, that I'm the one you like. So where do we go, where do we go from here? Where do we go, where do we go? Where do we go, where do we go from here? Where do we go, where do we go from here? Where do we go, where do we go from here? Baby, I've been busy missing you. Say, have you missed me too? Say, have you missed me too? Was this intermission good for you? Yeah, was it good for you? Or are you just confused?
Run back to watch for a few minutes. Alright.
Cause I'm not in.
Ernest Davies.
If you get hurt, it's unintentional. And I know that what I did was typical. I just needed time to show you what you got. So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Let's go. That
Let's
is
do it.
epic.
Love it. I should
Ryan,
have a new design for that.
you're
All
back.
right, guys, I'm
Yeah.
back. I'm sorry for missing the morning, but I am back and I'm excited. And Brett, you've done an amazing job.
Thanks,
How's
buddy. I
everything
appreciate
going
it.
today?
I
I know
spent,
Chris did a great job. And I know I was watching Maria as I was on my way back to the office, and it's good stuff there. Very good stuff.
yep, absolutely. So we've got some more great stuff, right? To kind of wrap things up for the day. So Davey
Absolutely.
Herrera, one of our Market Center Tech trainers. Hello, my dear.
Hello, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning. Davies,
Good
why don't you
morning.
talk a little bit about yourself, like what your role is, and then we will let you introduce our next guest, and I'm going to dip out of here.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Brett. Hello, everyone. My name
Davies
is Dave.
first. Love the poster in the background. Looks great.
Thank you. I
Five
made sure
families
that
in
was
business.
very prevalent.
I just
Awesome.
wanted
So,
to say good morning, and I will give you everything over to you, and Sandra can come in. So
awesome.
I'm out.
I'm excited to get the party started. So I'm Davies. I'm a Market Center Tech trainer for the Level 5 Leadership Group of offices down in South Florida. My OP is Natasha Tello. She owns 4 different offices. So I have the privilege of getting to know many of our agents. And today we're actually going to introduce you to one of my favorite groups in all of the organizations, is Sandra Rathi. She's been leading agents in the South Florida area for the last 14 years. She joined our Keller Williams Legacy office back in 2016. In 2023, she sold over $138 million and over $721 million since 2009. She ranks in the top 5% of all agents nationwide. Her and her team have earned top awards, and they hold elite memberships in KW Luxury, KW Relocation, and she's in Gary Keller's top team group. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Davies. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. So let's dive in because people are here to take command of their listings and you know how to do that. So let's jump into these questions.
Let's do it.
We're going to start off with what are some creative ways that your team showcases luxury properties?
Some creative ways that we showcase them. So I think that we have to think about our luxury properties, not just how are we getting it into the consumer's hand. We also have to think about how are we marketing it to our agents? How are we marketing it to the agents on our team, agents in their surrounding areas? I think as we see the market slowing a little bit more on the luxury side, we really have to get creative. So, I mean, we do all of the normal stuff. You know, I got all sorts of different things here I can show you. We've got, print marketing. Oh, you can't see it because of mine.
Try to push it a little. Yeah, there you go.
Here you go. Oh, that was funny. So you can see, like, we do a lot of print. We're really big on print. I know people say print is gone, but for us, it's actually the core of what we do. So, we do all of the standard print stuff, but then recently we've been trying to get a little more creative with how do we get more people into the houses just to, get it at the top of other agents' minds. Because really in the luxury arena, I think a lot of it comes down to who knows what's going on out there. So it might be, me picking up the phone and calling somebody that I know they sell a lot in that area and saying, hey, I've got this coming on. So we're doing a lot of pre-marketing and really just trying to get it into the hands of as many people that might have clients for it. So one listing that we recently put on, we actually held our team meeting at their house. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Luckily, it didn't have a lot of furniture, so we all brought our lawn chairs. Yes, I'm not even kidding. Dug out my soccer chair from years ago, and we held the meeting there. We had a vendor who came in and provided lunch, so they got to see the house. All of the agents on the team got to see the house. And then we were able to give the seller feedback on that as well. So now every agent on my team has physically been in that house, which is so much easier to sell something that you've been in and that you've seen than, just looking it up on the MLS. So I would say that's something that is kind of new that we're doing. We also are doing more brokers opens. We really didn't do those before. And now that things are sitting a little longer, we're definitely getting those out, dusting off the playbook for the brokers opens. Because the area that we're in, I would say there's some pockets that it's successful and some pockets where it's not. So just because of the layout of where all the offices are. So we're dusting that off and getting that up and running again as well.
I love that. Something that I heard you was the pre-marketing. I love the fact that you guys are taking a focus on that, right? Because not just waiting till it goes live, you guys are doing it as you're prepping the property to actually go live. You're doing a lot of pre-marketing, which is great. A lot of people don't do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to get all of our agents to at least see it, on paper or, online. We'll send the pictures out to the team and say, hey, just so you know, this is coming up. Who do you have? What do you have? Because there's buyers out there that are working with multiple agents. Even though we're supposed to be signing those agreements, we know that that's not happening at the rate that it needs to yet. So you've got buyers that are working maybe with one of my agents, but also maybe with another agent. So we need to capture that buyer as quickly as we can to hopefully get that deal. Maybe they'll wait a couple days or a week and see our property when they might have made a decision earlier on a different property that wasn't perfect for them. They might settle, but if they know we've got this great property coming on, they might wait a few days.
I love that. I love that. Great info there. Let's jump into another really good question about lifestyle. So what lifestyle factors do you guys consider when you're marketing your luxury listings?
Yeah. So, it's interesting. It's really fun with the luxury properties, especially where we're located, where we have, a luxury property might come with a lot more land. It might not, if you're on the intercoastal, you might not have any land, but you might have, some of the areas that we're in, we have 5 acres, 4 acres, 2.5 acres. So it's really kind of fun to see, well, what can we do with that land? So we've got people that are wanting more space. Okay, well, what are you going to do with that space? Because the land may not be good for a tennis court, but it might be great for a soccer field. And I had a client last year that's what they wanted. They were looking for land so that they could have a soccer field for their son in the backyard. So really trying to look at those factors, because a lot of people in the luxury arena, they want it at home. They're not going out and doing the showy thing. They really just want it to come to the house. They want it to be easy for them and have it right there in the backyard. Another one of my clients that we moved him into a $5 million house 2 years ago. He's an avid golfer. He went from living on a golf course to living on 5 acres. So he created his own mini, not miniature, but mini golf course so that he could practice at home. And so it's really fun to see what they do. And they have the money to make these things happen.
So I kind of just want to ask one deeper question in that. How do you even identify the lifestyle that they want to live? Do you guys have some sort of a pre-buyer's package where you're asking them these sort of questions to help them identify what do you need and why do you need it? And let's get you there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, it's more just conversation. We don't really have a checklist that we go down, but it's understanding the why. Why are you looking to make this move? What is driving you to do that? Okay, you want more space. That leads us to ask the question, what do you want to do with that space? Is it just indoor space, or is it indoor and outdoor space? Or is it just outdoor space? And asking enough questions. When people get into that upper price point, they have the ability to do things that are more creative than maybe your average buyer. So we can go in and say, okay, you want 5 acres and you want a 10,000 square foot house, but there's not one that has both of those things right now. So could we buy one that you tear down and then you rebuild, or one that has a house that could be your guest house and you just add another house to it? So it's getting a little more creative with the solutions.
I love that. Awesome. So let's talk about some technology, considering we're all MCTTs doing interviews here. So how can virtual tours and 3D technology enhance the buyer's experience for a luxury listing?
Yeah, I think the virtual tours for sure are a big help. These people are generally busy, or maybe one spouse is really busy, running a business, and the other spouse is available, but they both want to be part of the decision making, or at least feel like they're part of it, even though we know sometimes one spouse makes the decision. But so I think it's really adds a nice layer for them. And one thing that we definitely will do is if another listing is out there and it does not have a virtual tour, and we have a client in New York, California, we get a lot of referrals from other parts of the country, which is awesome. We love that. And they tend to be luxury buyers. And so we'll go and do a video for them if the listing agent hasn't done one. So we'll go and take one. We'll do a virtual tour, whether it's a live virtual tour or we just do a video. We'll send that to them, and that way it also shows how much we care that we're willing to go and do that for them while they're not here, and it keeps the process moving. So sometimes when they're far away and they have to travel in to look at the homes, it can stall a little bit. And it's like, okay, how many times a day can I call you? Or how many times a week can I call you without bothering you? So now we're offering something of value. We're saying, hey, I understand that you're busy this week, but this great property just came on. Let me go over there and do a video. Or if a new property comes on and they're local, we jump through hoops to get them in. Even if the actual agent on the team can't do it, there's always somebody that can get them in there. One of the buyers that we had last year was a $4.5 million buyer, and like the property, it was great. It came on the market, but with no pictures, and it said no showings until 2 weeks from now, which that's not legal, but we're not going there. But luckily, I had a relationship with that agent. I've known that agent for years because we've done deals in the luxury arena. So I picked up the phone, I called him, and he knows that what we get them closed. So he made every effort. He got us in. We went under contract before they even started showing it.
Sandra, Maria earlier also mentioned the whole relationship factor. And I think that as real estate agents, we have to remember this is a relationship business, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're building relationships, not just with our clients, but with our colleagues in the field, can make things like that happen. And all of a sudden, the Sandra Rathie teams are rock stars because you got me in 2 weeks before the showings were allowed, right? And it's all based on the relationship. So Absolutely. I love that. I did want to ask a question about when you're doing the virtual tours. Are the agents just going in and simply using their phone?
On our listings, no. On our listings, we're paying somebody to do the tours. And when we were less on the luxury side, we really didn't we had the virtual tour where they take the pictures and they zoom in and they make it look, like the fake ones, right? But as we've grown into the luxury arena, we do videos of almost pretty much every home, and we're starting to get our people into the video as well, which is, it adds a whole new level of, it's just very personal, and it's a great way to show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it gives the buyer, the consumer, the opportunity to get to know the team if somebody from the team is in that video. I love that. That is super awesome. All right. So let's talk social media.
Social media.
How can we leverage our social media platforms to target our high net worth individuals?
Yeah. So I think social media is so interesting because you can get to know people that otherwise you would never have met or you'd never get to know. So, for example, we go on an event. We go to an event and we meet somebody. We should be adding them to our social media because then they're going to see what we have to offer. So I have a lot of friends like on Facebook, followers on Instagram that are from other parts of the country, agents from, again, I keep saying California and New York because we get so many referrals from there, but also Colorado and New Jersey and all over the place. So when I'm posting one of my new listings, it's not just here. It's not just locally. It's not just my friends that are seeing it. It's agents across the country who they might have a buyer for it. We've got people that are sending us referrals from those other states. They're selling their properties and then they're coming here to buy. So when they see my listing, it reminds them, oh yeah, Sandra is in Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. She's got an amazing listing. Let me send my referral to her.
So something I wanted to just kind of touch on with that is when it comes to social media, I feel like a lot of our agents are almost afraid to advertise their things that are going out of state because they feel like they're not going to get business from it. But you just proved that business can come from anywhere when we use social media.
Absolutely.
And why limit ourselves, right?
Right. And I'm actually, with Keller Williams, we've got some great communities that we can be part of. So we've got KW Luxury, we've got KW Luxury Pro. Those are great avenues to post our luxury, not our regular listings, but our luxury listings we can put in there. And so agents, again, across the globe, and they are agents that are working in the same, price point that we're looking at. So it really does get it out there, and agents are commenting, and I know it may seem trivial, but it's not, because they're realizing what you have and what you have to offer. And we have agents that are reciprocating and actually taking our listings and spreading it out to their people. So that makes them look good too, because they're like, hey, look, I've got this connection in South Florida. Even though we're in New York, maybe you want to buy a second home there. And that's a very big feeder system for us. So it makes sense. They're benefiting, we're benefiting, and our sellers and buyers are benefiting.
Absolutely. It's a win-win, right? That's part of KW culture, is making sure that everything is a win-win. And we're actually going to jump into that with the next question. What is the importance of building relationships with key players in the luxury market?
Yeah. So I think we already touched on the whole, the key players. I look at other agents as key players, whether they're here locally and not just within KW. I know we are very tight knit and we really like to refer within KW. However, there's agents that are not within KW that they don't have referral partners because maybe they're with a small company, a boutique company, or they could be with a big company and they just don't, they don't get in that space. So even just having a presence online doesn't even have to be social media. It could be, your Google reviews, your Zillow, whatever it is that they're searching on to find a referral agent, because we do get quite a few referrals from agents that are in different parts of the country, not with KW. So that's kind of exciting.
I love that. I deal with I speak with and I help a lot of our agents, and a lot of them feel like they only have to stick with our KW circle. And in all honesty, you don't have to. And the goal is to build relationships with so many people, not just within KW, but outside of that. And hey, you never know, they might join us, and profit share is a win-win, right? So the opportunities are out there. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But let's take it a step further. So you asked about people in the luxury arena. So yes, okay, we're talking about realtors, but now let's look at, what about those other people, those people that are also in that space? Maybe they're not actually luxury buyers themselves, but they may be the connector to luxury buyers or sellers. So they're really everywhere. It's just asking the right questions and understanding where people come from. I joined a group recently that it is all about luxury, but not every person in the group is luxury, but they service luxury people. So, you've got entertainment people that are performers, sports players, congressmen. So we've got all these different players in there, some very wealthy, some not. But they have the connection so that we can get connected with their people, and then we can connect them with our people.
Some people, just to kind of dive a step further, is a lot of our agents seem to be afraid to mix their previous life before real estate with real estate. And I know you have a previous life before real estate in numbers, and many people have a previous career that they were in. What would you say to that agent that is almost afraid to connect the two things, or to blend them to try to build their real estate business?
Yeah, I would say get that drunk monkey off your shoulder.
Woo!
Yeah. There's so many connections. I really feel like real estate is such a relationship business, and it's really connecting with people. Like you literally could leave a job, get into real estate. 6 years later, you could be reaching back out to that job and saying, hey, I've been in real estate now. I would love to help you if you have anybody moving to this area. If you hear, it's just keep building.
Keep building and don't burn bridges, right? I feel like the more we build, the better our business can really be, because ultimately it's all about relationships. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So more relations and storytelling. So how can public relations and brand storytelling be leveraged in luxury real estate marketing?
Yeah. So I think that, so I get interviewed a lot because of the amount of luxury that we do and just the volume of sales that we have. And it's kind of fun. And then they post it different places. There's a lot of online, Real Producer did an interview with us 2 years ago. I'm trying to think of some of the others. Shout out Miami did one. And so when people are Googling you, they're finding these things, and it's just another way of solidifying that you are in this arena and that you're here to stay, that you're not just somebody who sold 3 houses and bought Zillow leads. You're actually somebody that's here to stay and, really make a business of it.
So with that, you would agree that your online presence is valuable. How we maintain that presence is so important, because as you said, if I Google Sandra Rathie, there's going to be multiple things that can come up for me, the good and the bad. And we want to make sure that the good is what story is being told, because there should be no bad, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we just have to constantly be, checking where are we showing up? Are we showing up in the right places? Every now and again, you have somebody that does something not so good, and they try to steal your, things that you've done in the past. So you've just got to be always on it and always just being aware of what's being posted out there. And you have to be able to, really just put the best foot forward that you can, so that everything, for example, you don't want to go to the grocery store, in the middle of where you sell in your bathing suit, right? It's kind of the same thing, right? So we want to put our best foot forward at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what we show online and in person really do matter, because eventually they're going to end up coinciding.
Yeah.
So now we're going to kind of jump into that buyer side of the luxury property. So how can you identify a high net worth individual who's interested in luxury properties?
Yeah. So this one's really interesting. I think I've got a great story for this. I had a client years ago, like 8 years ago, that bought a $350,000 house with me. He showed up in shorts every day. They were very casual. He worked in a parts factory. Okay. All right. Nice guy. We bought the property. I've stayed in touch. I'm really good at staying in touch with past clients. 8 years later, he calls me and he's like, yeah, I want to buy a new house. I'm selling my business for $220 million. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you asked, how do you talk to them about what are their needs? That's a lot of money. He could buy so many different things. So that was a situation of really figuring out what makes sense for you and your family. What are you looking for?
Imagine if you would not have had such a strong follow-up system, you could have lost that person, because I'm
100%.
sure he's turned into more than one transaction now, and the follow-up is key, because clearly that's the first thing I heard is you sold one, you followed up, and then he said, hey, I'm ready. Here's what I got. And
Right.
That's incredible. Follow-up is key.
And guess what? His dad was also part of it. And his dad bought a very nice luxury property as well. And that was within a month of each other.
That's amazing. I mean, what I think the moral of that story is the follow-up. You would have, and you followed up with him being a $300,000 purchase initially, to now all of a sudden he's a luxury buyer. And I'm sure he's going to be a seller pretty soon too. So
Yeah. I mean, because, you got to remember that once the kids grow, now things change again. So there's probably another sale coming up in the near future, and maybe moving them to North Carolina or something. And the interesting thing is that along the way, he didn't always answer the phone. He didn't always respond because he was traveling or busy with family. But I just kept calling. And leaving messages or sending him holiday texts. I never gave up, despite the fact that he hardly ever responded. Let's be real.
yeah, I love that.
That's how I think most past clients are, unless they're really bored and they have nothing else to do. They're probably not going to answer most of your calls, but that doesn't mean you should stop. They still want to hear from you. They're still happy that you took the time to leave that message.
Even if they don't respond. And that's actually a big limiting belief I hear every day is but they don't answer. But that's okay. All you're doing, if Bath and Body Works can email us 10 times a day and I don't unsubscribe, you should keep calling.
Absolutely. Yeah, Davies,
awesome.
Once I had a floor company, I was going to have my floors polished. Well, we ran out of time before Christmas. And, once you get all the decorations up, forget it. Well, that floor company called me 1 million times. I did not answer until Christmas was gone. And I called, and then they did my floors a week after Christmas, but the timing just wasn't right. Like I didn't need anything from him. I couldn't get the floors done and I didn't really care to talk to him. And then when the time was right, I picked up the phone and we made it happen.
Something that I tell agents is exactly what you just mentioned. When you were in the consumer shoes, you did the same thing that your consumer does,
yes,
which is not answer. So we have to think like the consumer. It's okay if they don't answer because I know I don't, but I'm going to answer your text maybe, right? So just keep going, keep trying. Eventually they're going to pick up and you're going to hopefully get something out of it. So it's a win-win. Love
absolutely.
It. What are some effective strategies for following up with your leads and nurturing the relationships with your potential buyers? Let's dive deep into that if you can.
Yeah, so can I answer that with both? I'm going to just kind of squish both together, listings and buyers. So for us, we are very regimented. We use Follow Up Boss. That's our CRM. And so we have a system. Everything we do has a system. So there's a certain period of time that we're supposed to call, whether it's an active buyer or seller or a past client or potential, whatever it is, it's got a time frame. So we have, just like in Command, where there's smart lists that can pop up and you make the calls. And it becomes so much easier when you just take the thinking out of it. So, if you're sitting there thinking, who should I call today? And you've got 50 people, now you're analyzing and you're looking, you're trying to decide. If you use your smart list, you just call them all. You just start at the top and you go down and you just get through the list. And even if you don't have all the answers when you call them, as it's the call, they want to just know that you called and that you care. And I would say really important is to take notes when you do get somebody on the phone. So when you get them on the phone and they say, I'm rushing out the door to graduation. Great. I am writing that down in my database. So the next time I call, I can say, hey, how was John's graduation? And then they're so appreciative that you remembered, that you took the time to acknowledge where they were going.
As I teach how to do follow-up and things like that with our agents, that's one of the things that I really focus on is are you listening to what they're saying to you? And are you writing it down? Because if you're calling 10 people, you already forgot what person number 1 said by the time you get to person number 10. So it's so important to make those notes. And if I'm honest, and I don't know if you guys do it, but I'm a social media stalker. If you're posting it on social media, it's because you want me to know, right? And I tend to use that when I personally make my own calls. It's, hey, Sandra, how was your daughter's graduation up at NYU, right? It's that knowing and being able to take that information and building on that. And they're going to talk because they love to conversate about things that have to do with their life, right? Yep.
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. I love the system that you guys have in place. And you did say that it's either active or just past clients. Yeah.
Yep. It could be both. And then even like with our listings and our pendings, everything has a system. Like we call the active listings every Monday. We call the pending listings every Monday and Friday. So everything has a system. And it just really helps the agents to not have to think like, oh, what do I do today? Because real estate's really complicated for people that don't have a system because they get bogged down in, well, I have these 50 things to do. Let's just narrow it down. Let's do it for you and say, okay, Monday you do this, Tuesday you do this. And of course, there's other things that come up along the way. But if we at least have a base of what we're supposed to do, it really takes out a lot of the guesswork and the overwhelmed feeling. I think that the biggest challenge with a lot of agents is they just get overwhelmed and they don't know where to start.
I love that. I do want to jump into another buyer question if we can.
Sure.
How do you define a luxury buyer and how do their needs differ from the average buyer? We talked a little bit about it, but I would like you to dive a little deeper if you can.
Yeah, so I think with a luxury buyers, you are looking at generally people that are probably very busy, people that are involved in, their own business, or even if they're retired, they may still be really busy. They're on boards of different events. They're charity people. They're involved in a lot of things. And I think a lot of luxury people, you're going to have to understand the DISC is so important, like understanding what kind of person are we dealing with. So you could have somebody that was, an executive at a big corporation. Their mindset's going to be very different than a football player that has a lot of money, right? So they're very different people, and we need to treat them the way they need to be treated. So we need to understand what's important to them, whether it's a buyer or a seller, what's important. Your CEO may be somebody who wants a lot of details. They want numbers. They want to make sure they're getting a good deal. Even if they could afford to buy 15 of those houses, they still want a good deal. Whereas you've got somebody else maybe that's more about, I don't care what it costs. I don't care if it's a good deal. I just want it to look amazing.
I love that.
If I answered your question, I feel like I hijacked that one.
No, you did great. I think that you did really great. And I actually wanted to touch on the DISC. And if for anybody that doesn't know, the DISC is a profile assessment, a personality assessment, and it helps you identify how to communicate, how to be with that person, right? And so if you know me, I'm a high D, high I. I love bullet points, yet I love talking to people. I don't like numbers, right? So I can identify that in myself, but can we do that with other people? Do you have your team take the DISC class when Natasha takes it or anybody takes it? Is that something that's required for all your team members?
Absolutely. It's actually part of my onboarding where I tell them, look for this class and go take it. And one of our agents actually just taught the follow-up, the second level of DISC, Daisy. She taught it here in our office. So I was like, everybody, you need to go. I think it's so important to be able to do that. And when my agents will call me and ask me, how do I deal with this situation? They're not doing a price reduction. I'm like, okay, well, what do they do for a living? Like, that's one of my first questions always is, well, what does your client do for a living? Or they start telling me this is what's happening. And I say, oh, you've got an accountant there, don't you? You've got an engineer, right? And I was an accountant before, so I get it. We're a little more analytical. We need the details. So it's understanding where they're coming from. What is their background? And then I think it's easier for the agent to not be so frustrated, because sometimes the agents, if you've got a high I agent and a high D client, the agent's like, come on, just sign this thing. And the client's like, I need 15 more spreadsheets.
Right.
But if you understand where they're coming from, I think it's a lot easier for the agent to say, okay, he's not just being a jerk. This is just who he is and how he thinks.
I love that. I think that the DISC is probably one of the most underutilized tools that are available to us as agents. We don't focus on it enough when we really should, because that can eliminate a lot of time.
Yes.
A lot of frustration and energy that gets put out there. So I love that you have them take that. And great example of a relationship is you and Daisy. Daisy was the team leader at the time when you joined KW, and now she's part of your team helping you grow. Like, it's so amazing how life just kind of goes full circle. She was my team leader too, so shout out to Daisy.
We love Daisy.
Yes, love my girl. Okay, a couple of other questions. We have a little bit more time before we go into Q&A, if you're okay with me asking you one or two more.
Sure, let's do it.
Right. I kind of want to talk data, because I know that you love your numbers, and I know you do take a look at how the market is doing. So how can we use data and market analysis to effectively highlight the property's value proposition?
Yeah, so data. Okay, I want to answer that. My brain went one place, but I think you're asking a different question. So we might have to get two answers here.
Yeah.
But I think data is so important. Obviously, I'm an accountant by degree before this. So I love numbers. I know I'm crazy, but I do. I love numbers. I like analysis. I like things that we can actually have, like, not necessarily black and white, but almost black and white, where it's like very easy to look at. And I think that that's not everybody's strong point, but if you have the ability to look at that and really compare, it makes your life so much easier if you can understand how to do comparables properly, how to do it like an appraiser does it. And then being able to explain it to your client at the same time. Right now, I feel like we're in a market where people are still overpriced. They're putting their properties out there higher than the last ones, but we're not in the market where prices are going up at the rate that sellers are asking for prices. So in this market, we have to be amazing at price reductions, or at pricing it properly to begin with, which, sometimes that's a challenge. So we get the listing and then we have to work it down. So I think it's so important for the agent to really understand how to explain it to the client, and how to, especially in the luxury arena, when you have, you're dealing with 5 acres, 4 acres. You're dealing with one house is 2,000 square feet, one is 5,000 square feet. Getting the numbers to come together, it's a little bit of an art, not just a science. You know, you're trying to explain to them because it's not a direct correlation all the time.
No, yeah, that makes sense. And I think what I'm hearing the most there is this is going back to being a skills-based business.
Mhm.
And if we're not going back to the basics of learning how to negotiate, how to price, how to speak with your seller when it comes to pricing, right? And helping them understand the whys behind your idea of what this price should look like. Ultimately, it's making sure that our agents are going back in and taking all of these skills-based classes, because that whole it's okay, we're good in 2020 that was going on is not happening anymore. And with the way that our market is going to be moving after August, we really have to make sure that we are absolutely skills-based and know how to communicate well. So
Absolutely. And, you know, we see deals that fall apart that shouldn't be falling apart. If the agent had been more skilled at having the conversation with either side, the buyer or the seller, we may have kept it together. So we're seeing a lot of that in the market right now where, you know, they wanted it, but they didn't want it enough. And then something happens and the transaction goes south. But if the agent had been a little bit more skilled and stronger in, you know, having that conversation with the buyer or the seller, it may have stayed together.
I love that. You know, with the whole buyer brokerage agreement being required now, what advice would you give to any agents who are maybe fearful to have that conversation?
Yeah, I think they just have to get over it. They really just have to get over it. You know, it's like listings. Would you take a listing without them signing? No, you wouldn't.
100%.
So why would you? Why I don't really understand why it's uncomfortable. What's the worst thing that happens is the buyer says no. Okay, well, that's probably a buyer that you might not have wanted to work with anyways, because they're going to cheat on you with 5 other people. So I think it's just something that they have to just get used to. They have to role play it, you know, outside of with the buyer, so it just gets comfortable. And we do the same thing with our listing appointments. We will sit in a room and have, you know, agents play different roles, and we'll role play the listing. And now we're role playing the buyer side so that they get more comfortable, so that they don't feel awkward asking. Because once you're comfortable and it just rolls off your tongue, it's so much easier.
How often does your team role play?
It just depends on how busy we are, I would say.
Okay.
And if we have, you know, how many newer agents we have, but we still have like our more seasoned agents, they'll still come in and they'll practice the role playing with the newer agents as well. And it's interesting because sometimes we'll be like, oh, why are you saying that? And they've been saying that for 3 years. But yeah, so we try to do it, I mean, at least once a month. Sometimes we're doing it 3-4 times a month. It really just depends on how busy everybody is and if the kids are out of school at home. And
I love that.
It's mandatory. Like, you've got to do it. It's the only way.
It's
really
better to practice with someone else than your client, right? The worst thing to do is mess up with the client. And then I just have really one last question regarding your vendor relationships when it comes to hosting brokers opens and open houses. How have you built those connections with your vendors to show that every time they come out and sponsor something for you guys or partner with you guys, that it's a win-win?
Yeah, so I think that they just get enough business from us that they know that it's a win-win. I hope we treat our vendors well. We try to really make sure that if we're asking them to pay for something, that they're getting value out of it. And if they haven't gotten anything out of it recently, then we have to think, okay, wait, we need to shift a little bit over here. And we reevaluate on a regular basis, because if we have a vendor that, yeah, they'll come and pay for things, but their service quality has gone down, it's not good. It's not a good representation of us. So we do switch out our vendors periodically. And, you know, people come and go. Unfortunately, they're not consistent. So we do have to keep reevaluating all the time.
So what I'm hearing is that you have a standard and you keep to your standard, and you hold not only your team members, but also your vendor partners accountable to that.
Absolutely, because they really are part of our team. If we referred them, then our client is going to be mad at us if they didn't do the right job. So absolutely, it's an extension of us.
I love that. You know, for my single agents out there listening, being on a team doesn't only necessarily mean you have a team of other realtors next to you. It's also your vendor partners. That is your team. Is who is it that you are referring out to your clients? So I love that. Sandra, I think this was amazing. I think there was some really great content said today. I don't know if we want to open it up for questions, Ryan. I see Chris said, hey, Sandra, earlier. Oh, we have someone that said, great question. This was very informative and helps a lot. So that was cool.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, Ryan, I don't know if you're talking. You may be muted. You may not be talking to us.
Yeah, this is my first time on Zoom. Thanks for having me. I wrote down a couple things that really stood out to me. One of them was going back to a lot of the things that we used to do in this industry, and that's brokers opens and doing the pre-marketing. I thought that was very eye-opening, just because of the fact that some of us who have been in the business for a while, they're like, oh yeah, that's a normal thing. But then there's a lot of us who have not, so they haven't heard it. So I've had to go back to that exact thing, is going back and talking about the things that we used to do and do very, very well that showed our value. But we kind of got away from it because the market was just too fast to keep up with that.
Exactly.
But I appreciate you bringing that up and saying that. And then the other thing that's huge, and I know Davey's hit on this with relationships, how important those relationships are. And I can see your business is built on that, which is huge, because I always tell people, what happens if you get into a car accident tomorrow? Are people going to care, or are they not going to know who you are? And your business still goes on.
That was great.
But any other questions besides me showing up for Sandra, but not for Chris? I'll call myself out on that one. It's okay.
Oh, do you want me to give a few tools?
Yes. Yes, please. Let's talk about your tools and your call.
Yeah. So on the second Tuesday of every month, we do a luxury Zoom. I say we, it's me and another guest. And Davies used to do it with me, but now Crystal has taken over. So I interview a luxury agent from somewhere in the country. We have usually, 100 to 200 people that jump on that call, and it's always amazing. I always get off and I'm like so energized afterwards, but it's a different luxury agent from across the country. And it's really great information. I find something every time. And then last but not least is, I have to do it this way. So I'm actually a co-author of this book. There's 23 agents that were co-authors in it, and it's all about luxury. It's all about building your luxury business. So there's tips and tricks from all of them. And some of these agents in here, like, they make me look tiny. They're huge. They're amazing. And they're across the country. They're not all KW. They're, I think, 13 different brokerages, and they're all over the place, from California, other parts of Florida. So if that's something that you think would be interesting to you, you can order it actually on Amazon, believe it or not. And it's available now.
I love it. Congratulations on the book, by the way. That is no small feat. That is amazing. So definitely have to top that up, guys. It is on Amazon. I know, Sandra, you were talking to me earlier about sharing a notes and tips and like tricks kind of sheet. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I did send that to you. Hopefully you got that in email. And I put on there really like some bullet points of the most important things to do when you get a luxury listing, and then also a whole list of where we do our advertising. So give you some ideas that maybe you haven't thought of before. And then it also gives you the QR code to the book website, so you can learn about the book. And then if you want to order it, you can. And then also it gives you a QR code to the luxury Zoom that we do every month.
Amazing. Guys, Sandra hosts those mastering luxury calls the second Tuesday of every month, unless a random holiday appears in the month. But it's normally the same second Tuesday of every single month. Join her, because I promise it's worth it. Like she said, I used to do it with her, and the amount of nuggets you get after each call is incredible. And a lot of the main questions that are asked almost every single month is, how does someone who is not in luxury get into luxury? So there's so many opportunities for everyone to find out how to step into this space, because the space is big enough for many of us. So don't be afraid. We just got to get in there and definitely hop on her call so you guys can get more tips. Sandra, I don't know if you have any parting words for our people out in the real estate world. The floor is yours for the last moment.
Yeah, I think I would just say, don't be afraid. It's not a price point, it's a service level. Whether you have a background in luxury or not, I think anybody can do it with the right training and the right effort put in. So if you're somebody who's trying to get into the luxury arena, I say go for it. You've just got to you got to buy the book if you want to do it, but buy the book and then you'll know exactly what to do. But I say don't be afraid. For many years we didn't sell luxury, and then we made the leap over, and it's been amazing ever since. And my agents are loving it.
I love that. Buy the book. Shameless plug, baby. Sandra, thank you so much for your time. This was amazing.
Question.
Right?
I have a question. So what was the hardest thing about breaking into the luxury market for you, and what's the best thing that you've learned from it?
I think for me, when I actually made a play for the luxury market a couple of years, years before I actually got into it. And it started off good. I was getting good results, but the people were so much more demanding than I was prepared for at that point in my personal life, because I was the rainmaker. I was the one doing all the listings, and the amount that they wanted to see me present. And I had 3 younger kids. I would say that was the hardest point of getting into luxury. I actually took a step back and stopped marketing in that area and went back to, closer to where I had already been marketing. And then 5 years later, when I had somebody that was able to be the person there in person, we turned it on again, and it took off really well. So that, I think you have to be prepared for that there is going to be more expectations in the luxury arena.
About how long did that take, you think? That's the thing we always get in technology. So when is that coming out? How long is it going to take? So how long did it take for you when it came to getting into luxury?
Oh, well, I think that once we set our mind to it, we literally, it was like we turned a switch. It was like from one day to the next, it really just took off. It was really, you have to put it in the universe and it will happen. We purposely started marketing to the more luxury areas. And I would say within 6 months, we saw a big difference.
You put your focus there, and then you just kept doing it consistently, and it happened.
Yes, absolutely.
So basically what you focus on expands, huh?
Yes, you got it.
Old stuff just isn't crazy talk. It's actual, it's real. Okay. It's real. Love that.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
All right. Thank you. It was nice.
I think
Nice
that's
hanging
a
with you
good
guys.
one to end on.
Thank you.
So we're
for
going to put
being
some
here.
music back on. We're going to put some music back on, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have a nerd session. But we're going to take a quick break just in case some people need to go use the facilities. So see you back here in just a few minutes.
A sign from you, telling me you need me here just like I do. All I ever wanted was to make it through. Tell me, how about you? How about you? So where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Doesn't matter where I go, heart still open, cannot close. Baby got me breathing now, breathing now. Welcome to this one-way ride. We're all on it, got to give it a go. All we got is hope. Don't you know? Wipe the floor of yesterday. You can change it anyway. And you're never alone, never alone. Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't really matter what they do. Baby, let me breathing now. Breathing now. Doesn't matter where I go. Heart still open, cannot close. Baby, let me breathing now. Breathing now. Took my head out of the sand. We're all in it, better. Open your eyes, see the open sky. Don't you know? Shake whatever brings you down. All that ties you to the ground. Cause you're never alone, never alone. Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't really matter what they do. Baby, let me breathe it now. Breathe it now. Doesn't matter where I go. Heart still open, cannot close. Baby, let me breathe it now. Breathe it now. No, 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 no. 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 Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't really matter what they do. Baby, let me breathe it now. Breathe it now. Doesn't matter where I go. Heart still open, cannot close. Baby, let me breathe it now. Breathe it now. Baby, got me breathing now. Let go. Baby, got me breathing now. Breathing now.
Come as you are and leave as you please, as long as you're pleasing me, baby. Do what you want, you're not mine to keep, as long as you're driving me crazy. They say lovers never make it without someone wanting more, but I know my heart can take it. It's the only thing I know for sure. Baby, it ain't love, but I'm loving the way it feels. It ain't love, but I'm in it for all the thrills, yeah. Why does it have to be forever to count? It ain't love, but it's enough. Oh yeah, it ain't love, but it's enough. Oh yeah, kiss me right here, then kiss someone else. We don't know each other. If you disappear, I still have myself, or I can just look for another. They say lovers never make it without someone wanting more, but I know my heart can take it. It's the only thing I know for sure. Baby, it ain't love, but I'm loving the way it feels. It ain't love, but I'm in it for all the thrills, yeah. Why does it have to be forever to count? It ain't love, but it's enough. Oh yeah, I need your love and I don't need your love. I need your love and I don't need your love. Oh, I need your love and I don't need need your love. It's the only thing I know for sure. Baby, it ain't love, but I'm loving the way it feels. It ain't love, but I'm in it for all the thrills, yeah. Why does it have to be forever to count? It ain't love, it's enough. Oh yeah, it ain't love, it's enough. Oh, yeah. Hey, this might come out as total madness, but just wait. I really need to tell you something. 'Cause I feel alone in a room, surrounded by people. I wanna know if you're feeling it too. Out on the roof, here with you, it all seems so distant. With you, under street lights right next to the skyline. With you, yeah. I've been listening to too many of my days. Now you just my makeup believer. I don't make this. You look so pretty in the sunrise, and somehow now everything is alright. I feel like every word is so translucent, so real. Oh, won't you tell me how you do it? Now I'm high, but the buzz in the room, surrounded by people. I couldn't care, yeah, but nobody but you. Sway, move me now, baby, just give into the moment. With you, under street lights right next to the skyline. With you, yeah, you. I've been listening to too many of my days. Now you just my makeup believer. I don't make this. You look so pretty in the sunrise, and somehow now everything is alright. Everything is alright with you. Under street lights right next to the skyline. With you, yeah, you. I've been listening to so many of my days. Now you just my makeup believer. I don't make this. You look so pretty in the sunlight, and somehow now everything is alright. Everything is alright. Don't wanna waste time. I'll never be this young. I'll never be this young again. Don't wanna chase highs when I'm too worn out. When I'm too worn out. So I'm never coming down. Never coming down. Never coming down again. I was born to be this high, born to be this high, born to be this high, my friend. Won't you come up here to my altitude, to my altitude, yeah, you, 'cause I always liked you. I wanna share this view, I wanna share.
Welcome back, Ryan. There was something that you said as we were getting ready to go to break that absolutely resonated with me, and I thought that I would just go ahead and share this with everybody so that they can really understand what it's like. Dora, I'll bring you in here too, because I mean, you know, it's all of us. So let's just give this a little look-see here, huh? Is the audio coming through? There we go. No? Where's the audio? Oh, there we go. You know, when you have streaming issues, it just really doesn't hit the punchline the way that it should. All right, whatever. That didn't work the way that I hoped it would. Anyway, oh, there we go.
Where are they? I think they're talking about us. No way. Come on, Lewis, let's go.
All right, I wear it proudly. I am cool with that.
From DJ to nerd.
What's that?
From DJ to nerd.
From DJ to, I've been a nerd my entire life. Maybe even as a DJ, I was still a nerd. I don't know. Ryan, unmute yourself, buddy.
Do we have to train Ryan again?
That's all good.
Okay, I'll talk.
There you go.
Well,
so yeah, this is what do we call this? The Nerd Herd Hour? Is that what this is? So
this is our Nerd Herd Hour. This is where we get to talk a little bit of tech, take in some questions. We've still got some people on our YouTube channel that are watching, and if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat, and we are more happy to answer them. Anything around marketing, anything around KW Tech, anything around technology that you may have questions around, this is open for you. I think what we should do, though, is kick it off by just talking a little bit about what we had heard. So, Brett, you were here all morning. Thank you very much for stuff for me this morning. What was some of your biggest takeaways?
So Chris Cook started us off with really talking about service, right? I mean, that's what resonated with me, is the service that really sets you apart and creates more value for you, as opposed to the next agent who's not offering the same level of service. He brought up a great example at the end when he was talking about, he used an example of these two batteries, right? Two batteries from his camera. And if they're exactly the same, what could possibly set them apart? And so you have to create value. If you're offering the exact same thing as the other agent, then, and you know, if you're charging the same as the other agent, or the other agent is charging less than you and you're doing the exact same thing as that agent, why would anybody pay more? So you have to create value around that. And we've been hearing this as we move through this into this new market, which I love this market, guys. I have to be honest. I love this market because it's a win-win market. We're getting back to a more even negotiation type of market, and might even see my favorite contract market.
That'd be cool.
Let's not get carried away, Brett.
I would be very happy with that.
A boy can dream, can he?
But that's actually a good point you brought up, because I was going around teaching this class in the region recently about YouTube and Canva and how to use those. I started the class off talking about brand. And it comes back to exactly that. How do people see your brand? Are you, I mean, you can have two things doing exactly the same thing, but because you associate with something, you're known to be more of a superior brand. I mean, one of the things I brought up is that movie that was talking about Nike, and before Michael Jordan, they weren't really seen as anything. That company was going down. But you bring Michael Jordan into the picture, and all of a sudden the company takes off, right?
Yeah,
it's what you associate with being a champion or not being a champion. Budweiser just had a similar issue recently where they have been a good brand for a long time, and then they associated with something that caused their brand to not be towards their primary audience.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you agree with it or not, it wasn't their primary audience. Therefore, the
Mhm.
brand went down a bit. But then they regrouped and came back and reassociated with something that is on brand, and then they took back off again. But it cost
Well,
them
and
a lot of money.
all of our guests talked about that. Chris talked about it. Maria, Sandra, they all talked about putting your best foot forward when you are online. Yes, you have to be your authentic self. I think the thing that resonated with me is Sandra's like, if you're selling luxury, you're not going to pop into the grocery store in your bikini, right? And Chris talked about being authentic in the presence that you put out there and having a quality product. So yes, we understand that when you're getting started in the business, you may not have the budget to do certain things. But if you're not going to pay for a photographer, make sure that you're holding your phone in the landscape position, right? And you've cleaned off the lenses to your camera. Not everybody can hire a professional photographer right away. However, when you're competing with other agents in the market that are, and most of them are, it's probably the first thing that you need to incorporate into your marketing. I know Andrew's here and there's something in the chat, so I can only imagine.
That was my fault. I was just saying he's taking affiliate marketing to a whole new level right there with his lender in the background. I hope we got a good penny for that one.
Got it. So yeah, I mean it's important to portray that positive image. The other thing that we talked about with Chris was if you're doing, and Davies talked about it with Sandra as well. So what we call 3D tours or Matterport tours. Matterport is a specific brand name for a camera and service that does that. If that's what a true 3D tour is, or a video of a marketing video of your listing, a real video is something like Chris Cusimano's doing, Ken Posek, Justin Himmelbaum. It's not a slideshow of your photos that the MLS automatically creates for you, right? And there's so many agents out there. And again, if your budget limits you, awesome. It's better than not having a video. However, you can actually create those videos yourself with very little monetary investment. In fact, most of the time on a beautiful Florida day, all you need is your phone, right? And if you're scared to get in front of the camera, then you can just record clips and then use something like Canva. Does an amazing job with their AI feature, and it will actually stitch those clips for you, automatically decipher what's in those video clips, create the captions, emojis, put background music behind it, everything. Boom, you're done. There's your reel.
I mean, and honestly, Brett, you can use things like CapCut. Like there's so many of these apps that you can choose a template, insert your images or your videos, and boom, you have this like magical video that looks like you took time to do it. And in reality, it's a template that's already used for you. There's a lot of easy buttons out there. We just have to learn about them.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're super easy to use. So CapCut, thank you for that, Davies. That's another one that I actually use too, right? CapCut and Canva are like my go-to. So full transparency, I got booked to teach my ChatGPT class and the Real Deal, my video class, back to back in Memphis, and I needed to get a promo out to them. And while we're on break, I recorded it this morning right before we went live, but then I had to edit it, and I edited it in like, I don't know, a minute and a half on CapCut, brought a logo in for that market center, and it was done. So these things don't take a lot of time. Of course, everything has a learning curve, if you've never used it, but that's what we're all here for, right? So our agents can lean on us to teach them that stuff.
I think the whole point, though, when you're doing videos, like Chris was saying, don't just, you're not just showing, here's the bedroom, here's the bathroom, right? You're creating a lifestyle. You want to bring them into that lifestyle, right? It's picture yourself in this, like even in my background, right? So I'm going to create a whole lifestyle and conversation about just that.
Right.
So especially in Florida, right? We have golf, we have equestrian here where I'm at. Like, so you want to introduce why you moved to Florida, right?
Yeah, Wellington blows my mind. I'm driving down this city street, right? And there's houses all around, and you know, just past a Starbucks and a Dunkin', and then I see a sign that says "Watch out for horses." What?
Yep.
I love it. See, here on this coast, those kind of properties are in the middle of nowhere.
Going to what you were just talking about with you're talking about basically about the marketing piece of having your background, having the ability for people to feel something through it, feel more human through it as well is important. There's a book I'd like to suggest if you haven't read this one. It's called The Power Habit: Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business, and it's by Charles Duhigg. Read that book a long time ago, and it's a very influential book in the way you think about marketing, because it talks about why we do the certain things that we do. And it's an easy read because it's in stories. And I'll give you the link to the book here in a second. But this one, like, it tells the story of Febreze. It tells the story of toothpaste and how toothpaste became important, because toothpaste before didn't have these things in it, and it was just like paste, and you put it in your mouth and brush your teeth. And a lot of the people who were in the military weren't brushing their teeth. And this book talks about how they put the minty flavor in, and how they put the tingling sensation in there to make it so that we are using more of our senses, therefore you remember it. And I think that's really, really important. And that's hard to do through video sometimes, is get people to feel emotion through a video, because we can't put something in their mouth and make them taste it. We can't put the smell in the area, but what we can do is we can evoke emotion through visual sensation. So you got to get really good at that if you're doing it through video or storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even for yourself. So I know a lot of agents are fearful to get on camera because they don't think that they have enough energy or whatever. But that all comes with practice. It's like anything else. It all comes with practice. And honestly, video is one of those things where you have to over animate to come across regular animation. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really kind of go over the top, and then it comes through a little better. And it's practice like anything else, but you can build a big business out of it. I mean, you know, I follow all of Kuzi's stuff, whether it's his real estate stuff. He's got family channels too that he does, where it's just, you know, him, the wife, and kids, which is an entourage in and of itself. But he makes it work. And one of the other things that we talked about during his session was the fact that if he can do it with his busy life, personally and professionally, anybody can do it. It's just taking action. Like he said, just get started. I use a similar phrase that I got from Sean Cannell from Think Media in all of my video research and everything. And he says the same thing about people shooting video. You got to just press record, right? You just got to do it.
Yeah, forward.
One thing that I suggest to my agents that are a little bit shy when it comes to being on camera is narrate. Go around the house, start talking about it, create that lifestyle just by you narrating the story of, can you imagine yourself in this beautiful kitchen with so-and-so and doing this, and right? So it's okay if you want to be on camera to start, but you got to start. So even if it's just your voice, you know, and yet they still give me a limiting belief that they don't like their voice, but that's all right.
I would add to that is, when you're going around doing that tour, I would suggest, if possible, to do the tour first and come back and narrate
and do the voiceover.
That way, yeah, do voiceover, because I hear agents doing that, and I hear their breathing, and I hear their footsteps and stuff like that so much, that if you can do it afterwards and control that environment, then it's sounds a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely, because you don't even have to use the audio from that walkthrough, right? You just have some nice music playing low behind it in the background, and then you do your voiceover. And like Davey said, whether it's CapCut, Canva, those free softwares can do that for you. Just make sure you have a good mic because
And-
audio is like 90% of your video.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could
Just
reach
as
out
a
to
reminder,
you.
Canva is a partner of Keller Williams now. Just wanted to remind everybody that. So if you haven't already, you get a discount currently with our program the way we do, because we still have our old partner as well, but we've got somewhat of a partnership with Canva. So if you go and register now, you get 20% off your yearly rate. So you would, if you already have a subscription, you would have to go ahead and downgrade it, and then after 48 hours, upgrade it via the link they give you, and you'll have a year for, I think it's like $99, completely worth the cost there.
It's like the spouse knows about the mistress and is just waiting for the time that it's all over.
It's good though, especially after watching Canva's show last week. They did a good job, and I've been test driving their new setup, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's a little different. I won't lie, I was a little aggravated because while I love technology, I too sympathize with those agents that don't like change. And when I have to like find my way around the UI again, the user interface, it was a little off-putting in the beginning. But well, so one of the things that happened is I was editing a flyer and I clicked on something and it brought this thing up about creating your own graphic, right? Using the AI to create your own graphic. And I closed out of it right away because it popped up in my face. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I need to know how to do that. And I can't go back and find it anywhere.
We'll just go to the photos area, and it's right there.
Right.
But they've moved a bunch of stuff around, and honestly, as I was going through it, it just became, they actually put it in a more intuitive place than it was before. It's just when you've already learned where they had it before, it makes it a little bit of a learning curve there for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I was going to say, Dora, why don't you give us some of your feedback? We've kind of been dominating this conversation, and I think I was fighting you for some space there, so I'll let you have the opportunity.
I think she
No,
had
it's
something funny to say, and I didn't hear it. What was it?
No. I was just saying, if anybody wants to know what kind of good mic to get, instead of spending your time Googling or going on Amazon, they could reach out to Brett Bishop.
Just
he will
call
tell
me.
you. Yeah, he'll tell you exactly what you need, and you won't have to compare notes.
He actually gave us that, and we have that on our website too. He built a kit for us, and we put it on our regional website. So if you go to kwsouthfloridaregion.com and you go to resource area, there's a kit there that he built up for us.
And you can even get it in Keller Williams colors. Look at this. Huh? New anniversary edition of the Rode Pod mic in red and black.
Nice.
Hashtag real nerd.
Or some other things that you guys picked up from today's call.
I think to the theme was a couple themes was definitely value and what did I write? Value was the biggest, providing knowing your value and being able to speak that value, right? And loving on your people, including, like Maria said, they all said it actually, not just your clients, but also realtors, because we are in this business. We should be helping each other out to stay in this business, right?
Yep.
So I love that. And, I think having a system, even though they didn't quite use that word, they have a system for everything they do. Like Chris is working on a master system for the Excel sheet, Maria's got her system for her open houses. Like everything's got to have a system. Even if you're recording a video for, your listings, there should be a system put in place for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be complicated, but you've got to have it and write it down. Like I always tell everybody, when you're doing all this stuff, create it so you can create an ops manual as you go, right? So every time you're doing something, you write your system and you file it in that ops manual and it's ready to go, because as you grow and you need to bring people on, you just hand over that ops manual and life is simple, right? So
yeah, you can.
What do we call that ops manual in our world?
Playbook.
We have another one too. Filled right in.
Command.
Well, within command, we have tasks. We have an opportunities area with tasks, and that becomes your operations manual. Get them all put in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a few of us that are a
if you're
little
doing
older.
an open house, you can have a whole checklist for your open house right into your open house section within command. I'm sorry, within opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like with with what you were talking about there, Dora, as far as like building out that system. Let's say it's a checklist or whatever, like for the video or the open house. You can actually use ChatGPT to do all that for you, and you're done. Like you can ask it for what the steps should be. You can edit it with the steps that you want it to include, and you can even have it spit it out in a table form for Excel or Google Sheets or whatever. So it makes it really easy for you, and it takes like just a few minutes to do.
Takes longer to type it in Japan. Because unfortunately, there's no import.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
But it's good because you can go back and edit it. You can also get to choose whether you want that to be something that's sent to the client, which I think is important because we were talking about value, right? And that's showing your value right there. If you can say you're going to do something and then you do it and you show your work that you did it by just sending them an email, letting them know it was done, the system does it for you. So if you don't know what I'm talking about there, if you go into opportunities and you go into anywhere in that opportunity, you can edit the tasks that are in there by going to the edit stage and task area up on the top. Once you go into edit, you can add tasks to any stage. So if you think about it, if you have a listing, you go into listings pipeline, and you go into the task, you go into the active section of the listings pipeline. You can create an area in there for open houses and have a whole tax list for your open house. So everything they talk about for the open house is put in there. Everything they talked about for creating their videos is put in there. And that becomes your, like Dora said, your operations checklist. Make sure you do the things. There's certain things that you want your clients to know that you did for them, and you can mark them so that they are a client update and they get emailed that day to let them know once that day that you've completed that task on their behalf. And I think that right there is a huge value and very underutilized.
Yeah.
I was literally going to say the same phrase. Very underutilized is sending that. Like when I was on a team and we didn't have command years ago, I was typing out every week what we did for the sellers. Like, here's your seller report. Every week I was typing that all out. Meanwhile, and now you just check it and then boom, it sends it. It's beautiful.
And it's
I
been
think what
there
you said
forever.
Yeah.
about being the your operations checkbook, exactly. Yeah. So you think about it. Even if you're a single agent right now, if you ever plan to start a team or you're on a very small team, like it's just you and operations person, what if you start expanding? And then, like I said before, what if you do get into a car accident and you can't work for the next few weeks? How is your team going to continue on without you telling them what to do? Well, if you have that operations checklist as you're in place, then they can continue doing things just as you've laid them out. That becomes your value statement to your team as well.
Yeah. I'm not real fond of how you're trying to kill us off, but other than that, I get your point.
Well, kill me off if I get into a car accident. But I get it. Don't worry about it. Elon Musk will take care of that. He's got a robot coming to do it for you.
Oh man, talking about technology and where things are going, this is crazy. So I saw a YouTube video of a robot, one of those like freaky robots, right? That like don't move naturally. They're really weird. And it was harvesting sugarcane or something like that. And it was going like 1,000,000 miles an hour. It was crazy. It was crazy to watch.
But Earth can't grow that fast. Jeez.
So squirrel, but I was just thinking, you made me think about that.
All right.
Oh, guys,
any other nuggets for marketing?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Dave. You were
I
lagging.
have to hop off, but I did want to give a little bit of the two things that I really feel was some of the main focuses. Number one is relationships, which I know, Dora, you really just said that, right? Is the power in relationships between not only realtors, not only our clients, but also our vendor partners. The importance of making sure that it's a win-win. If they're not doing well, maybe you got to switch your vendor, right? Because ultimately our vendors are going to be a representation of us as the team that we're showing our clients, right? And then number two is being skills-based. Man, we really got to get back and be skills-based. This is not 2020 anymore, where the market is so fast and everything's just coming and offers are being accepted and we got multiple offer scenarios. It's not the same anymore. Really ensuring that we're going in, taking these classes. And even if you're a seasoned agent, go back. Maybe there's something that you need to hear that's happening now, you know, a new tactic, a new something. You got to hear it, right? So you're never too seasoned to take a class and you're never too new to keep attending classes. I think ultimately we just have to keep building our skills. But I got to go, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And-
Have a great one.
To David's
So
point, Stephen R. Covey says that in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you got to sharpen your saw, right? That's one of the habits, is sharpen your
Mhm.
saw. So all of the agents who have been doing this for a while, it's a good time to go back and sharpen that saw if you haven't already.
Well, and let's talk about what Davies mentioned. You know, she said that agents are going to have to go back to their skills. Well, guess what, guys? There's agents that have never had to have skills.
A big portion,
They
right?
have, right? If they've been in this business since, I don't know, 2012, 2013, they
Be
have,
fair.
huh?
Come on, be fair. They've got skills. They know how to put the key in the ignition and drive to that location.
Right, but I mean, you know, I'm not picking on anybody, and I think most of them would know that all they had to do was wake up, go to the office, and make good money, right?
Mhm.
We know it from training them. We know it from well, I mean, ourselves. Ryan, you're an agent. I'm an agent. Dora has her license, right?
Right.
I
I was an agent for a while.
know.
She sold herself property.
But you haven't practiced in quite a while. That was my point.
I do it once a year for my own properties, okay?
But I mean, it's been easy. So like for me, I mean, I still have, my wife and I still have a team, and you know, we've been operating through all of this awesomeness of the market and everything. And you didn't have to work too hard to make good money. But those skills are super important. Knowing your contracts, which for me, I was in the unique position in my former office because I wasn't only the tech trainer, but I was pretty much the main contract trainer too. And I would quite honestly get infuriated because there'd be 1 or 2 people in that class. And that means that there's a whole bunch of agents that don't know the contracts that are really out there operating. And that's the reality of it is that's the real estate world we were in. Right. But those days are gone. You need to know the contracts. I would tell you, you need to know one more than the other, but I won't get into that right now.
You make a good point just because of the fact, even if you're doing a good job and you've educated yourself, you can go and do a deal and you're dealing with somebody else who has no idea. So
Right.
you end up doing both jobs because you're doing your side and you're doing their side because they have no understanding. And sometimes the skills of just negotiating alone make it really difficult because you're negotiating with the other side and they don't know how to negotiate and they just end up giving up and the deal's over when you end up having to jump in and save it. I've had to do that several times in the past couple of deals I've actually done. Unfortunately, if I didn't jump in, the deal would have died because they didn't know what they were doing. They just, something came up in the inspection, so they wanted to just pull out. Well, guess what? I'm using their residential contract. You can't just pull out. We have the option to make some fixes, and it scares them. So they don't have any. They had no idea. The last couple people I've dealt with had no idea that they could do that. They just thought they could pull out, no big deal.
Yeah, no. So thanks.
That's
for
a skill
bringing that up,
level.
because that's the only contract worth its weight.
Well, I'm not trying to get into that right now because I know we'll be here for hours. But the point is, those are skill levels that you have to deal with at this point. So my suggestion is you go and recruit some of those agents, bring them over to Keller Williams. Because I will tell you that I had a mind shift. The team leader I had quite a while ago, I was like, I don't want to refer this person to you or that person to you because they're not very good agents. And she's like, no, that's exactly why you should refer them to me.
Yeah, because we can change their lives, right?
Absolutely.
And it's also why when you're in those difficult negotiations, and not every agent is receptive to it. I would say that most are, especially when they know that they're new, right? But that's why when you're in those negotiations, it's within our culture to do everything that we can to guide them too. Is it our job? No, but it's how we do things in Keller Williams.
So it's part of your marketing plan. Put that in there. Put it in your emails or something. Or just be like they said. I really love the part where they kept on talking about how they're dealing with the other agents on the other side and they're marketing themselves to them by buying them a gift or just thanking them in general and being kind to them and like being patient. Like those people that I talked about that I had to do the work for them, I wasn't mean to them. I didn't make them feel like they were less than because they didn't know how to do it. I just I walked them through the process. I was nice to them and I did tell them, hey, if you're interested, I can set you up a meeting with my coach and they can help you out with that.
Yeah.
Of course, my coach is my team leader.
Right. But I love that you put it in those terms, though. My coach, right? Because if an agent outside of the Keller Williams world might know the team leader tag, right? The team leader, what am I talking about? The role, the name of the role, whatever. Then they might just automatically be put off. It's he's trying to recruit me, whatever. But if you say my coach, which that's really what team leaders are, right? That's one of their main jobs. Then it comes off as coming from contribution, which is what we do here.
We're always marketing, no matter what it is. Whether we're marketing our property, marketing ourselves, marketing our office, but marketing.
Yeah, and marketing is the actual name of helping, because ultimately we're helping, right? Whether we're trying to market to other agents because we want to change their life by being a Keller Williams agent, or we're marketing our listings because we want to help our seller sell their property, whatever the case is. Great marketing is the greatest help.
All right, so I want to market to you. Next month, we're doing Take Command again, and next month we have a little bit of a different topic. We're sticking with the listings, but it's not going to be about marketing, okay? We're going to progress beyond that. It's going to be more about how to do certain things within your, now you're in an opportunity or you're in a situation where you're listing a home. So what are some of the things that you can do to maintain that listing? So come back to us next month for that. Also, I'm going to market to you your Market Center Tech Trainers. You have one in pretty much almost all of our offices without the region. If you don't have one in your Market Center, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to find somebody who can help you, or one of us can help you. We're a big team here. We work together, and we want to make sure you have that. Again, just to market that, that's not something we typically have in other brokerages. They don't have somebody there to help you like that. So it's something we understand. We know that we need to give you the help, especially when we're pushing technology to you guys, that we know it. Sometimes it can be overwhelming and it can be cumbersome. But just remember, you can use as little or as much as you want to. And the littlest amount I would use would stick with the MREA and focus on getting your contacts in there, talking to them regularly, and being consistent with that. That's the biggest thing. Be consistent. And then put those in an opportunity. Those opportunities are big. And I keep on going around teaching. I keep on hearing the same thing. People are putting those opportunities in there as soon as they get them on a contract. That is not the right time, because you're missing out on so many opportunities because you forgot to follow up with them, because you forgot to put them in the opportunity pipeline. So as soon as somebody raises their hand at an open house or raises their hand in the Publix grocery store line and says they're interested, put them in as an opportunity. And don't forget, because if you do forget, you're going to be just like I have many times in the past. And you're going to look at your social media and see somebody just bought a house without you or sold their house without you because you forgot to follow up because they told you 6 months ago they were interested, and now they're selling it because you forgot to call.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got a question.
How do we get
all the information that's given today? Brett, how do we do that?
Man, I was going to ask you.
Oh, well, we're going to have that. We're going to have that on our regional webpage. These videos are living on our YouTube channel right here. They're running live, and after we're done, they process and they'll be available for you to go back and watch if you want to watch them again. Also, we'll cut them up into some shorts and into some bits and parts. So you'll have a lot of the stuff that Brett has already been talking about today will be done to them. So those will be available to you. And you'll also be able to go to our website at KWSouthFloridaRegion.com, and you'll be able to get them there under our video section.
So that part I am familiar with. I think what Bella's talking about, though, is the items of value. How do the agents get those items of value? So Maria was going to share something, and Sandra was going to share some items of value. So how do we get those?
Those items of value will be in my hand, and I will make sure the link to those is put on the website along with the videos. And I will also, if I can find the link, if you're going to YouTube and wanting to find them there, put the link in the description.
Yep. And if you know who your Market Center Tech Trainer is, then definitely reach out to them, or you can reach out to myself or Ryan, and we'll get you connected with them, because Ryan makes all of these resources available to all of us too.
If you have no idea who your Market Center Tech Trainer is and you're on this call, please, especially if you're in the South Florida region, please get in contact with me, and I will connect you with that person. All right.
Awesome.
You're welcome, Bella. Thank you for joining us today. If nobody else has any other questions, I think that's a
wrap.
for today. In South Florida. What markets are you with, Bella?
Do, do, do. I don't know if she heard you.
I'm not sure either. Hopefully she did. Can you go ahead put into the chat what market center you're part of, Bella? Fort
There you go,
Lauderdale.
Fort
Okay,
Lauderdale.
you got Miko. Miko is your
Yeah.
market center tech trainer, and he is a very, very capable tech trainer. He's got this technology down. So if you need help getting in contact with Miko, I will be happy to connect you guys.
Awesome. Just like that, making connections is all about relationships, like we talked about, right?
Yes. All right. You guys have a great day. And Dora, Brett, thank you so much. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do all this. Appreciate you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Dora.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ryan. See you all
Bye.
later.